All right. How's everybody doing? Is this too loud? It looks kind of loud on OBS. Yeah, I'm back from vacation. I had a very I think it was fun. Some stuff happened. I also realized I don't have any music going, but I'm gonna chat for a bit while I set everything up on my other computer. Yeah, I got back from vacay, traveled, really liked the place I saw. Want to move there? Looks pretty cool. Um, okay. Uh, which? Yeah, so drama has been kind of weird lately. I kind of missed like a golden week, I think. But also at the same time, I really needed a break because like I'm not exactly in it to win it, you could say. In the sense of like YouTube is fun. I like doing it. I like making videos and I like talking about drama, but I don't. I think it's. I don't know if it's like a willpower thing or something, but I feel like I'm not super good at maintaining. I guess like consistency almost, or like taking advantage of golden opportunities, especially on drama. Working. That's like the most important one. Yeah, because I feel like I missed like the opportunity on the pirate software gold mine. And um I don't actually even like care that much, but that's also like the problem, I think. Um I feel like talking about pirate software, it's over. Like everyone's making post-mortem videos now, you know? Um because he's dust. He's been turned to ash. His career certainly has been throughout everything. Um, the Mutahar stuff just hasn't caught on, I think, and I just do not care about the Carl Jop stuff. I mean, I do. I watch it. It's more so I don't think I have anything to add. Pirate Software will be a locale for a while. Yeah, totally. I'm sure he will be. But he's going into fortress mode. He's had his Vosh moment where he a bunch of the embarrassing stuff came out, and now um he's he's probably gonna be gone for a little while until he does something else embarrassing. I mean, he didn't have anything nearly as bad as a Vosh moment for realsies, but he's gonna Fortress Arc. He's gonna keep streaming through it. He's gonna talk to his Discord pretty much exclusively, and then that's probably gonna be like the next year or two for Pirate Software. Um, and I think he's gonna lay low on any shenanigans like cheating in game, or any puzzle games. I don't even think there's gonna be any new puzzle games for a little while. Those take a little bit to make, I guess. I don't know if they're right. I don't even know the right word is for that. Um, I'm a little bit brain broken right now, honestly. Um, but yeah. And then what else happened? Nothing about Mutahar. I wanted more Mutahar stuff to happen. Um, and nothing did. What was it? Accountant Mutahar. There was some like accountant guy. This is the only video I didn't prep on the Mutahar front. There's some accountant guy that was watched it. I don't know his name though. Okay. But yeah, no, I missed last week. And also I've been looking at like YouTube optimization stuff. Like how do you I follow vidIQ because they at one point had really good like stats for your videos. It was like an easier way and a better way to see like how your videos are doing. And it had like an AI checker for your like thumbnails and title and all that kind of stuff. And I think it like subscribed me to them because now I get like recommended tons of videos, and it's like I think a lot of people have them, and that might be the reason why like everybody uses the same advice of like upload once a day, put out a short every 6 hours, make a YouTube post. YouTube posts actually do get like an insane amount of engagement. I was like, oh, do I want to do that? And I'm like, I don't think I take YouTube seriously enough for that. And it feels like I don't know, algo manipulation, which I would do if I wanted YouTube to be my job, but I like it being a hobby. Oh yeah, this is the guy. I didn't even mean to put this on screen, but that's the guy. That is the vidIQ dude. That was the wrong thing. Here we go. Get the bullshit off the screen. Slop News Network. Actually, no, there was another video, wasn't there? Mutahar had a video come out. Wait, let me get this off screen and get that. Oh, there's a couple. There's another couple videos. Jesus, I was not on my game for this. I'm just getting recommended stuff that I should have had ready. Jesus. Mutahar.
Hello, guys.
He uploaded 3 hours ago. Okay. Hello, guys and gals. All right. So we have developer examines SOG, some ordinary gamers. This guy was really fucking good during the Pirate Software stuff, and now he's working on this or put out this video. As you can tell, it's not as hitting the ranks as his Pirate Software one did. I think that one got like what, a few million views? Yeah, almost 2 million views, which is kind of insane. And that's not even over. He has like a part 4 coming out for that as well, so let's get right into the news.
Hello guys and gals, me Mac here, and we got a doozy to go through today. So Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers has been called out for being a fake engineer and lying about his supposedly totally real day jobs for the past 14.
And there he is. He is wearing the Sonichu medallion. The curse continues. Every single person who wears a Sonichu medallion, real or fake, ends in turmoil. Their career will be destroyed. It happened to Chris Chan, it happened to Nick Rekieta, and now it's like an ongoing situation for Mutahar. And I know that there's like 2 or 3 other people that have worn one, and they've gone super downhill. Muta had an audience that will listen to him no matter what. Yeah, kinda. I definitely think his audience is more like a daily slot people who don't even like care really. Also his views are kind of crazy anyway. Like sometimes he'll get 100, Sometimes he'll get 500,000. Rarely he'll break into almost 1 million, but that's only if he delves into drama, which he promised he wasn't gonna do. He took a Quintheo note. They lied with a picture of Mutahar. So it's gonna be hard to tell. We'll have to wait 6 months to see, but I think you're right. I don't think there's going to be a big like reaction from Mutahar's audience.
Years or so. This drama really kicked off due to a video made by another YouTuber called Nicandros, who went through and found all the conflicting Mutahar statements about his education, experience, and work. If you want to see all the specific callouts, I'll have his video linked in the description and in the pinned comment. What we're going to do in this video is go over some more of the engineer details and technical claims made by Mutahar a bit more in depth. Let's kick things off with what kind of engineer Mutahar is.
I'm a computer engineer. I'm a computer engineer. Dude, I'm a computer engineer.
I'm a YouTuber. Why are you asking me?
And I'm just like a computer engineer by default. Like I'm a computer engineer. I'm a computer engineer. You want to talk about cyber warfare? I'm a computer engineer.
Yeah, there was this compilation. Oh, yeah, it is just straight up Nicandros' compilation. We can skip that. I think it goes on. Yeah, here we go.
Code related is actually mind-bogglingly stupid. But I'm an engineer. I know how this stuff is going, so I'm not even speaking out of pocket right here, okay? If you want to disagree with me, feel free, but you're actually wrong.
All right, so he's a computer engineer, a cybersecurity engineer, a computer science engineer, and a video engineer.
What the fuck? Yeah, I guess nobody else like laid out just their like how many titles he gave himself.
At least according to himself. Let's take a quick look.
Also, a computer, I mean, that's what the question mark is for. A computer science engineer isn't even like a real thing.
At his university education to see if that gives us a better clue which kind of engineer he originally studied to be.
Like, it's a really good explanation of why, like, I picked engineering as, like, the road to go down when I was studying. I'm like, I went to university for computer sciences, and that's it. I thought when I got into university for a while, and I dropped out, like, a semester in, because I was like, okay, no. Like, I'm a dropout myself. I've never finished university, but I'm not going to dog on, like, school, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to learn to be
valuable.
Yeah, if you're going to be an engineer, if you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, if you're going to be in this
just Nicandros'
you need to go to university, okay?
Okay, there's a lot of stuff to unpack and explain here already. First, Mutahar only partially did 1 semester in a computer science program before dropping out. Though before I dig into that fully, let's double check his LinkedIn to see what kind of other experience or education he has. If we look at Muta's LinkedIn, he has a diploma from Humber College for cinematography and film/video production.
Oh, so he does actually have a degree. So he could be considered a video engineer. He actually does have the qualifications for that. Okay.
Plus, his only work experience listed for around that time period is web content producer. So I think it's pretty clear based on Mutahar's own statements and recorded job history in the 2012 to 2015 time period, he never studied or did any engineering or software work or IT security stuff for any serious amount of time. Prior to 2012, he supposedly had 2.
I wonder if he has an actual like degree in video engineering stuff. Like that should be like really easy to show, I think, right? Is it? I guess it's not, but like, also, I do wonder what he's worked on as an actual. Was he on a Marvel movie? That's what I want to know.
2 or 3 different IT jobs.
I told you guys, I'm a guy who used to code bank applications. So back in Canada, I was basically finishing up my, high school diploma and everything. And at the time, I worked a little computer programming job. I worked as a pen tester, you know what I mean? Like I got into the whole thing early. I had a couple connections.
Somehow, while he was around 17, he managed to get a job being a pen tester. And during that exact same time period, he was also working as a programmer helping to create banking software. The pen tester claim might be plausible, but I have to ask, who was hiring some random kid with 0 experience to create bank software?
I don't think the pen tester thing is plausible at all, actually. I think that's kind of like, that's crazy. Because pen testers are that's not like an easy position to get. At least not to my knowledge. They're pretty specialized, well, not specialized, because there's a lot of different types of, I guess, penetration that can happen. But it's a pretty niche position, I think, overall.
Software. That just sounds ridiculous, but let's put those teenage claims aside. Now, let me nitpick a bit the terms Mutahar has been using. He claimed to have done 1 semester of computer science, yet he called himself a computer engineer. These 2 things aren't exactly the same. Here in Canada, we have 4 major programs within the IT space: computer science, computer engineering, computer security, and software engineering.
So I'm assuming because he's speaking on American, but that's very similar to American and British. Like, I don't know, computer studies, computer science, engineering, security, software engineering. Yeah, that's very similar. I think in America though, you would also nowadays, I think there's also robotics, which would very specifically be like working with pneumatic systems and like probably using high level languages to automate arms. It's probably much more mechanical than it is like coding, but that would also, I think, be considered similar. Maybe that would, I don't know. But I know it's a thing that you can do in like Boston, right? For like Boston Dynamics. That's becoming like a new thing. And there are certain video game degrees as well that would be considered close enough to like programming to be like software development.
Now, before I fully explain the difference, do keep in mind there is a lot of overlap between all 4 of these programs, and graduates can and do jump between jobs you'd associate with a specific path often. For example, even though software engineering would produce software engineers like the name implies, computer science graduates tend to follow a lot of the same career paths and often do become software engineers as well. The same is true for computer engineering graduates as well. Anyways, let's start breaking these things down. Computer science is a program branch of mathematics focused on the field of computation. This is the oldest program type in IT, and this is still an incredibly common choice for people who want to go into software jobs in the future, though it has a much greater focus on the theoretical foundations of computing than any of the other programs. Software engineering is a newer program that is...
So I can't speak on that because I haven't gone through the other programs. I have gone through computer science. And it's... I wouldn't say it's all that theoretical. At least whenever I was in it, it was doing a lot more, I don't know if I would say practical work either. I guess it would be. I'm not a teacher. I'm not even like a high level guy, I don't think, but I imagine these would be taught in other stuff too. Oh, that's software engineering. On the math, that's not really what I did.
On the theoretical foundations of computing than any of the other programs. Software engineering is a newer program that, as the name implies, that focuses on the practical application of how to build software itself. So in these programs, there is a much greater focus on software development life cycles, user interfaces, software testing, and maintenance of software systems.
That's probably
true. Some comp sci overlap on topics such as design patterns, algorithms, data structures, and other things directly tied to creating software itself.
So that sounds like exactly what I did, and I did computer science. I did not do computer engineering or software engineering. I specifically did like a computer science degree, and that sounds much closer to what I did. It's probably just different for the countries. Oh, fuck.
Comp sci and software engineering probably have the most overlap in jobs, mainly since programmers and developer jobs are some of the most common and plentiful choices, along with some of the best salaries, so both program graduates tend to go down similar career paths. Now there's computer security. This is a fairly new program that is offered. As the name implies, this focuses on system security. These programs have a greater focus on computer networks, Internet of Devices, and how to securely set up systems, as well as how to do pen testing and other things you associate more closely with the hacking areas of IT and computers.
Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. We learned like very vague stuff in computer science for that kind of stuff, but yeah, that sounds pretty accurate.
Lastly, we have computer engineering. This program is a combination of some comp sci and electrical engineering. Within a computer engineering program, you learn how to make circuit boards, design the actual hardware that makes up a computer, embedded systems, and how to create software for the hardware you design directly. There's a focus on a lower level program the one a normal software engineer is using. The computer engineer will make the hardware function and have some basic ability, while the software engineer will be making programs on top or using the functionality of the hardware directly or indirectly. Now, what does this have to do with Mutahar? Well, if we remember, he said he attempted to do one semester in a computer science program, but he dropped out. Yet he calls himself a computer engineer, which I find odd, since based on what I just explained and the clips compiled by Nick Andros, Mutahar's attempts at study and previous possible work experience, he was always either a programmer or a pen tester. It seems odd to me that instead of calling himself a more appropriate title, like pen tester, programmer, developer, or software engineer, even if that last one would be a line stretch too, he decided to use computer engineer, a job title that implies electrical engineering experience, which clearly he has zero of. It does seem like Mutahar carefully chose that title, since it's the only field that involves what most people would consider real traditional engineering in it.
Wait, what? What did he choose? Because I thought he chose 4 different titles.
a Java developer, or software. It seems odd to me that study and previous possible work experience, he was always either a programmer or a pen tester. It seems odd to me that instead of calling himself a more appropriate title, like pen tester, programmer, developer, or software engineer, even if that last one would be a line stretch too, he decided to use computer engineer, a job title.
Oh, yeah.
Now let's move on to our
I'm not sure about that. I think this might be a thing, but maybe I'm too relaxed because I haven't held like a crazy position. But I don't think like if you're, because my thing is that whenever you're talking to people, 99% of the time you're talking to somebody who's like not in your field, and you're talking to somebody who has like typically at best a layman's idea of like what you're doing and what you're like working with. And so it's probably a lot easier to say I'm a computer engineer to somebody than like, well, I don't know. Programmer is like pretty like self-explanatory. But maybe it's because Mutahar did like a bunch of AV shit and that's why he's calling himself a computer engineer versus like not, I guess. Because that would make sense to me, actually. If he knows, like, a tiny bit of programming, but he does a lot of AV stuff. Maybe that's why, but I guess my thing is I'm debating if this is too anal or not. It seems a bit, but it also might totally be, like, a Canadian thing.
next problem area of debate, using the title engineer in Ontario, Canada. Unlike a lot of countries, the title engineer is protected in Canada, and you're required to get a professional engineer license or a certificate of authorization if you want to call yourself an engineer or provide any kind of engineering services or work. Let me also bring up a response from VX Underground, partially defending Mutahar, while I'm explaining the section. If we look at VX Underground's...
Oh, okay. Let's go back and read that. Long rant people probably won't read, but it's an opinion. Skip to look at the picture of a cat. After skimming in comments, I've seen people say some relatively negative comments about SOG, some ordinary gamers. I can't attest to his character on his personal level or professional level because I have not spoken with him in any capacity beyond pleasantries. However, regarding his skill set and level of expertise, I don't believe he is alive. Dude, what the fuck? He's talking about how he's making like an HBank fucking H.264 codec inside a codec for AI reading video textures, video game textures.
Response from VX Underground, partially defending Mutahar, while I'm explaining the section. If we look at VX Underground's tweet, we can find this section here where they state that within IT, it's extremely common for people to get the title engineer without being a traditional engineer.
Okay, for those unfamiliar in the cybersecurity and IT field, it is extremely okay. Individuals do not need to possess a degree or have powerful understanding of mathematics. Powerful? Is this guy ESL? English second language? Like a civil engineer or mechanical engineer would. The engineering term in a software and software architectural sense is more akin to developing, maintaining, or designing a system in which a system of systems may exist. Okay. Interact or interopt with each other? It is still engineering. This person has no understanding of technology. This is just like dick sucking Mutahar.
And you know what I have to say to that? I agree, actually. Not only do I agree, but this is incredibly common here within Ontario too.
I mean, I agree with that specific line that he pointed out, but almost none of the rest of that I think would be agreeable. The rest of that is like nonsense gibberish. Like, okay.
In fact, most software engineers here in Ontario never get a professional engineering license since it's almost never actually required for the job. And the PO is against the title software engineer being used by non-holding engineers, but it's not really a huge deal here, and there isn't a whole lot of enforcement. Also, this isn't the same across Canada. In Quebec, for example, this matter is taken a lot more seriously, and that's why they title nearly all their jobs developer or programmer to avoid the engineer title and license hassle. While in places like Alberta, it has been ruled in a case before that a software engineer isn't an engineer in the traditional sense, so it's fine to use the title without breaching the PO rules. Here in Ontario, it's sitting in a gray area. While the PO is against the usage, most places, especially startups, don't really care and throw around the software engineer title without issue. Some companies like airlines, I heard, are stricter here in Ontario and do expect you to get your professional engineering license, but that's the uncommon case. Basically, since software engineering isn't a public impacting traditional branch of engineering, it's not really regulated or cared about by most in the same way as civil or structural engineering. Plus, a lot of companies and startups are starting to fight to be able to use the term software engineer without the legal hassles associated with it.
Well, why? This is one of the company. Okay, I mean, this is just like completely off topic, but it's like, why do so many companies like? Why do you even care? Just call yourself a programmer. Programmer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. Maybe it's a thing where it's like they want to call themselves like engineer just because like the rest of the world calls people engineers. So you kind of have to like go with it. I don't know. I also don't see a problem with just calling yourself a programmer, but a lot of people seem to be like, I want a more prestigious title. I'm not just a programmer. I'm not a coder or a code monkey. I'm an engineer. And maybe that's part of Mutahar's thing. Just speaking in like actual real world terms, like tons of people around me want to be called an engineer, and I'm just like, I'm a code monkey. You're a code monkey. We don't do like super complex stuff, I don't feel. And I have people who are doing less complex stuff than me that are like, I want to be an engineer. I'm an engineer now.
Now, that little discussion aside about software and IT, while I agree it's not a huge deal itself, and many people do get into IT fields without needing an engineer license or degree, Mutahar doesn't call himself a software engineer normally. He calls himself a computer engineer. Now, while there might be an unspoken past for software, I'm not sure the same holds true for computer engineers, since again, computer engineers do have an expectation to deal with electrical engineering, something that is considered a traditional branch of engineering and does require a professional engineering license. His title
I'll reveal something embarrassing and cringe about myself. I took a CompTIA test once, and I fucked up that computer engineering part. I didn't know about like electrical and radio shit that I guess I should have known about. I had no idea that I should have known about it. Besides like a kind of a study guide, but it was like a weird situation. And it's like, yeah, if you call it, I guess if you are like in that field, if you know specifically something, if you're calling yourself a title that ought to very specifically have that knowledge, yeah, okay, I get that. But maybe it's like a colloquialism? Like maybe very specifically Mutahar is like, I engineer things and I'm on the computer all the time, therefore I'm a computer engineer. Not, I'm a pro at like all these different signals, wirings, and silicone.
title choice is a lot harder to defend here in Ontario. One YouTuber by the name of Harmful Opinion seems to have reported Mutahar to the PO, since he wanted an answer to this question and didn't want to speculate. Since Mutahar never seems to have offered any actual engineering services, I doubt he's going to face any serious consequences, legally speaking, with the most probable outcome being a fine he'll have to pay at...
Oh, so we actually did get an update on this? Let me get Harmful Opinions channel up. We got an update on that request from, whatever it was called. Update on checking if Mutahar violated Ontario law as promised. The enforcement officer does not consider the intel ad and other examples claiming to be an engineer I sent to be violations, and they will not be pursuing the matter further. Noting that they're aware that he made an apology. Yeah.
I know.
Oh, wrong video.
Worst, and possibly have to give another more explicit and direct public apology. So while I agree the protectionism
He
of
did
the title
give that
engineer for
public
IT is a bit
apology.
silly, Mutahar probably did fly a
Kind of. I'm not going to watch the full video because it's an hour-long video almost, and I think he's only apologizes in it for a minute or two. He did the same thing he did with Nuxtaku, where he's talking in like something completely unrelated, and then about 20 minutes in, he gives like a 1 to 5 minute apology. But whereas Nuxtaku, it's in a Metal Gear Solid video. In this one, it's like, I think it's in like one of his weekly like dark web videos.
bit too close to the sun with him.
Oh, and it goes about, I'm not an engineer. I'm sorry if you feel that you were misled, but if you continue to be mad at me, fuck you. That's what it amounted to.
His specific usage here in Canada. Not to mention his complete lack of work experience and education really doesn't help his case, even for those that are arguing the self-taught angle. Also, while we're on the topic of computer engineer, let me debunk something quickly. There was a super viral tweet going around from Kaguya's Top Gal that got like 2 million views, where they said,
I don't like referencing Kaguya, because she is Mega racist. It's funny though.
Mutahar pretended to be a computer engineer to get a visa so he could come to Canada, with a picture of one of Gamma's videos. Okay, first of all, Gamma in his video of Mutahar lied, people cried, never said anything like this. Also, Mutahar was living in North America way before he was 18, and was even attending high school within the greater Toronto area. Here's a picture I managed to find of a teenage Mutahar attending a high school in what I believe to be the city of Mississauga.
Teenage Mutahar. He looks pretty different.
Specifically. So this claim is completely bogus and something Kaguya just made up for engagement bait. There is zero truth to this, and Gamma is innocent and had nothing to do with the claim.
Okay, so I follow people that are like funny, but definitely dark humor, racist. You can just take a look at Kaguya's page and know that nothing on there is like legit or serious. Well, they're pretty serious about it, but I don't think they're to be taken seriously.
Okay, now let's go back to the VX Underground tweet. The next part we'll look into is the paragraph where Mutahar ordered the entire VX Underground malware collection on a drive and explored it. I was pretty...
Is he gonna... I'm gonna read it anyway. Previously, he purchased a copy of our malware from us, VX Underground. Oh, shit, this is the guy I was calling stupid. It's actually like a company. I wonder... Maybe they didn't have the context, but I do kind of feel bad about that now. If it's like a company, and they do have like a lot of experience, but that doesn't mean that they weren't talking nonsense. They absolutely were. Previously, he purchased a copy of our malware collection from us. It is approximately 36 million malware payloads, as well as papers and source code. And upon receiving the drive, he dug into it immediately. I watched his analysis video where he played with the malware payloads. He certainly isn't a malware person in that he doesn't seem to understand certain attributes about malware payloads he was playing with. However, he still understood the high-level overview on how some of them work. Basically, it was like watching a slightly less noob explain to noobs. It was cool, no hate. I think he had fun and had fun showing others. Ultimately, this is what we strive for. Computers and malware are fun.
Curious to see what Mutahar would do with the virus collection, so I went and found the video in question. It's Mutahar's I got hacked by North Korea in this video. I'll leave a link below for anyone that wants to view it themselves. Naturally, I went and watched the video, but honestly, there's nothing for me to really say. Like, if we look at the VX Underground tweet, they say Mutahar was playing with the payloads, but I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. Basically, in the video, Mutahar gets the drive from VX Underground that he ordered, he attaches it and explains what's inside it, what folders are there, and what's inside, namely viruses, papers, and other malware-related tooling. Then he, on another laptop, goes and just runs a bunch of random viruses directly on his system until it gets completely wrecked. During the entire video, he never really dives into anything or explains.
Wait, he didn't even do it on a or did he do it at least on like a virtual machine on another computer? That'd be cool to be like, yeah, malware can get through virtual machines. Huh.
Anything technical. He basically gives the most surface level commentary on what he's seeing at any given moment while messing around with the drive. I'm not hating on Mutahar for the video or VX Underground. I can totally see why this might be entertaining for the average viewer, but there really isn't anything in this video to show Mutahar has any kind of domain knowledge or experience. I'll agree with VX Underground's sentence near the end, where it really does seem like a very slightly less noob, showing noobs random text.
Well, wait, so why is VX Underground simultaneously saying he's an engineer, it's whatever? And then being like he's a total noob, or he's not total, but he's basically like a newbie.
Stuff. Now, let's go back to Nicandros's vid and see what else he managed to find about Mutahar's IT projects and work.
Do you do programming? I don't know why that took me 3 different ways to ask that.
I do it it's more of a hobbyist thing now for me personally. I'm trying to like work around with consoles at this point, like reverse engineer shit that I have.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So that's what I'm into now. It's just like it all has become like a hobbyist thing for me at this point.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Okay, reverse engineering console is crazy advanced stuff. This isn't something an app.
So that's funny. I imagine what he's really like doing when he's saying reverse engineering consoles, because I've had an interest. I ripped off some kid at a GameStop for a PlayStation 2. He's probably talking about like, oh, I installed a 4K upscaler into my PS1, or I installed like a wireless internet into a PlayStation 2. Or not wireless, actually, Ethernet, or I put in like an SSD into Xbox, or I doubt he would, but maybe he was like, I put like extra RAM into an Xbox or like any console. So yeah, that's super weird.
amateur can really do or easily learn on their own. If Mutahar was talking about real non-documented systems reverse engineering, that might involve some basic soldering work, assembly debugging, dumping ROMs, analyzing data while the system is running, all pretty tough and time-consuming things to do. Here's a great video by Poking Technology showing how he went about reverse engineering a 6502-based game console. This is a very simple system, even compared to older game consoles like the Super Nintendo or Genesis, and it still takes an incredible amount of knowledge, work, and trial and error to make any kind of progress. Now, if Mutahar is doing reverse engineering or emulation type of work on existing popular consoles, that's slightly less bad, since you can avoid a lot of the real-world hardware messing around stuff or dumping ROM needs, since those systems and parts are well documented and understood, with info easily available online. Though again, trying to write an emulator is once again pretty advanced stuff, and not something an amateur is going to be able to do or easily learn on their own. You're going to need to understand lots of highly technical.
Yeah, emulators are like insanely complex. They they're even like hard to describe because their needs are so complex. But you're not even like recreating the original system. You're creating something that can functionally run something on the original system. Sometimes it's better. I actually do prefer emulators in a lot of ways to the original system, but like they're complex as fuck. And they're widely considered to be like almost like scientific marvels, some of the emulators. Especially like Nintendo stuff. Because holy shit, old Nintendo stuff is fucking crazy. What was it? There's something like, well, it's a lot of like older tech is like very reliant on the actual metal inside of it. There's something like your game will run slower on an N64 the older it gets, and that will like actually affect the gameplay. Like Mario will move slower in what was it, Mario 64. The older the console is. And I also think emulation is necessary, especially for like Xbox 360 games, right? Because Xbox 360s have like a limited shelf life because of their weird heating thing. You ain't playing Battlefield? No, I'll be playing Battlefield tomorrow though. Me and some friends are gonna well, I'm gonna download the beta and we're all gonna play.
Things like how the system's CPU works, what kind of chips the system has, and other quirks or special hardware that might be included, and how it interacts with the other parts of the system itself. Anyways, let's see what other tech stuff Mutahar works on.
No, right now as a video editor, I do more engineering now, so back-end programming for effects work. I'm working on a new codec for video right now for H.265. So
dude, that is so fucking deranged that he said that. I'm working on a new codec for H.265. Oh, are you working for Intel? Are you working for AMD? What the fuck? You are not working on an H.265 codec. It's fun. Yeah, I've been watching JFJ play it. And I dude, it looks fucking awesome. It looks great. And I am gonna play it once it comes out. Sorry, I'm looking at how many levels Turbo Overkill has. What level am I on? Paradise Lost. Oh, so I just started episode 2. Okay.
So we can actually transmit better video quality at higher resolutions. I'm actually doing something which...
Okay, timeout. Before I even start explaining this, I'm calling 100% BS and lies on this claim. Mutahar is not working on a video codec or contributing to H.265. High efficiency video coding, also known as H.265, is a video codec standard itself. It does not make any sense that he's making a new codec to work on an existing codec/standard. Next, codecs are incredibly complex standards and pieces of software, and a result of sometimes close to decades worth of work with some of the world's largest companies and greatest minds working together. Even the people doing small bits here and there are fairly good and competent programmers, not amateur hobbyists. Next, let's actually look at the diagram for HVAC Nick Anders put up in his video. If this looks complex, that's because this is fairly complex.
I would say the people working on codecs aren't just fairly good programmers. Although, honestly, there probably are like a lot of people who are like learning or getting to grips with it and aren't like mega minds. But that's who I'm talking about. Most codecs are made by like the mega minds. So yeah.
Let's look at the left-hand side at the very top. This coding tree units is actually step 2, technically speaking. Before this step, there's another preparation step where the input video is collected and some pre-processing is done.
Okay, so he's going over it. Yeah, codecs are kind of they're complicated. They're complicated. Basically, the actual data that you get, oh god. It's all about like the transmission of data and making it simpler for videos. So what you're looking at is basically either pixel replication, pixel prediction, or simplification, and then re-output in a way that's easier than just recording the full data. That's like a lot of data storage in general, or data transition. And codecs are like incredibly complex because you have to do a ton of shit that I don't even know that much about them. The main thing I remember is like stories about how like Intel just made a like huge boost to H.265. Or something like that. And how their like color prediction has made like an insane boost to programming, and how if YouTube adopts it, it'll like cut their data storage by like a third. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy.
The goal of this step is to prepare the frames for the compression process. This can include stuff like color space conversion, downsampling chroma channels, and frame reordering for better temporal prediction. Temporal redundancy is a fancy term that means you're basically taking 2 frames and trying to figure out the difference between them and only storing the difference instead of the entirety of the next frame. At this stage, the encoder knows what a frame looks like, but hasn't yet tried to compress it down yet. Now we're on to step 2 of the process, partitioning the frame into coding tree units, or CTUs for short. This is the start of the diagram flow we can actually see. The goal of this step is to break a frame down into more manageable blocks of pixels for analysis. H.265 supports up to 64 by 64 CTUs, and they can further be divided into coding units with a quad tree structure. Then the coding units are further divided into prediction units, PU for short, and transform units, or TUs for short. Or in more plain English, we're taking a video frame and splitting it down into smaller block-shaped pieces. Then we can once again break down those blocks into even smaller blocks. This third level block split are the pieces of data that will actually be processed in later steps. Now we move on to step 3, the prediction and estimates.
I do think he's just simplifying H.265 because I don't think that's how NVENC works. And I think Intel's is similar because I want to say theirs is based on H.265, maybe H.264. But
65 doesn't store every single frame from a raw video.
It's easier
Instead,
just
it tries
to
to predict
go over
future
the one
frame
Mutahar's
data from
talking
existing
about.
frame data. It does this through 2 types of predictions, inter-prediction and intra-prediction. Intra just means the prediction is done without reference to the other frames. Only the data within the frame itself is used for it, while inter means other frame data is used to help make the prediction and adjustments. Inter-prediction is stuff like the motion estimations and compensation, where the encoder finds matching content in other frames and uses motion vectors plus motion compensation to create the predicted block instead of resetting all the pixels within a frame block. For a clearer example, let's pull up the separate diagram. Here we can see there's a race car and it's moving from the center of the frame to the bottom right. Since the race car is moving, instead of saving all of the frame data for it every frame, instead what can be done is store the original frame race car data, then use motion vectors to simply move that block data across the screen that matches up with the future frame position. Intra-prediction is for areas where inter-prediction doesn't help. Here the encoder...
So that's closer to like interpolation. Well, that's more like the animation sense, but if anybody knows animation stuff, that's like the closest thing you would get to that.
Predicts a block from neighboring pixels in the same frame. Basically, instead of saving every single block of data, the encoder will try to predict what surrounding blocks of pixels will look like with specific modes and patterns. Now we're on to the 4th step with the transformation, scaling, and quantization. In this step, it's where the predictions made and the actual block data of a frame are compared and turned into saved frequency data. There's a lot of integer approximations done here with discrete cosine and sine transformations. This transformation step makes it easier to concentrate the visual information into smaller numbers of coefficients. Then the quantization is done, and the goal of that is to throw away small, less visible details to save bits.
Yeah, so this is like one of the issues with video compression, why you'll have people complaining about it on like YouTube or whatever, is because, yeah, that's exactly what it does. It throws away bits of the data that it doesn't think that it needs. I think larger YouTubers, I think there is like a program that some people can get put into. I know like Linus Tech Tips is in it, and probably Mark Ass Brownlee, where they don't have nearly as bad They don't have nearly as bad like compression issues, but for 99% of people, and especially for streaming as well, streaming has like a because it's live, because you're constantly receiving data and you're not sure how it's going. It's harder to predict, right? Because you don't have like future data to predict off of. That's typically why streams look a lot worse and take up more data than an actual video will.
The coefficients are divided by the quantization step size. Basically, what all that means in English, the difference between frames are found, and this is known as the residual. From there, the larger your quantization step is, the more compression is going to be done, and the more quality loss there will be compared to the original raw frame. Since human vision isn't perfect and has different quirks, we don't need every micro shade of a color saved in a block. For example, since the size and information is basically seen as the same larger block of color, when we humans look at it from a far enough distance, the goal of this step size is to basically remove as much possible color noise and data without it visibly affecting how we see the image frame block itself. Then we move on to the next step, entropy coding, or here in the diagram, header forming and context adaptive binary arithmetic coding. The goal of this step
this is too complex for me. I have like some basic layman knowledge on this, but by and large, this is kind of insane.
Is to take all the data and info from the previous steps and store it as compactly as possible so that the CABAC is encoding the prediction modes, the motion vectors, and the quantized coefficients into a bit stream. While the efficiency for storing this is fairly high, that also means this is pretty computationally intensive while trying to play back a video. Anyways, back to the diagram steps. Then we reach the loop filters, which is the deblocking and sample adaptive offset. Basically, this step is trying to smooth out and clear the final stored frame. Since the frames are processed in small blocks, there ends up being clear visual block shape artifacts and leftovers once the process reaches this point. The filter and deblocking stuff helps smooth out and blend these output blocks so it's not noticeable in the final output frame.
I honestly had no idea
now
this
we're at
part
the
even
last step for the
existed.
encoder, general control. The goal of this step is to package all of the encoded information for storage or transmission. This is where the headers are added with sequence.
Also, I guess my one criticism for this part is like, on one hand, it's good because it like it's helping explain like why Mutahar has no idea what he's talking about. On the other hand, this is like probably too well, it absolutely is too complex for a lot of people to understand. And at least from watching Chud watch this video, a lot of people just like tuned out at this section because it is just too hard to understand for a lot of people.
Sequence information, timing info, and other things you expect the video file to have. Then the last part of the diagram to note, we have the output video signal here in the bottom right. This is the decoder step. The decoder is basically doing most of what I just explained in reverse. To help make this entire process a bit easier to understand, let me give a quick analogy. Let's say you had a giant Lego city built, and you wanted others to be able to recreate and view it. So encoding is like the process of taking that entire Lego city and making an instruction manual with every single step and piece recorded. Then someone that has the pieces and manual can recreate the original Lego city near perfectly. Okay, with all of that talk aside, can we all take a moment and appreciate the absolutely insane amounts of effort, research, and sheer work that goes into making video possible? This is truly an absolutely incredible feat of human engineering that most of us probably never really think twice about. Now, back to Mutahar. Does anyone think he has any clue how H.265 technically works? Or that it can realistically work and create his own video codec? Or something on top of H.265 himself? Yeah, I thought not. Mutahar never seems to try and claim he's working on more normal tech projects or things. He doesn't talk about working on websites, picking up new programming languages, making random apps. He seems to have an odd tendency to always lie about the most impressive, cool, and challenging possible things that a developer could work on.
Yeah, that's totally true. Like, dude, he can just be like, yeah, I worked on a chatbot. I worked on chatbots. I've made like half a dozen chatbots at this point. I need to make another one, but I'm really fucking lazy. He could just be like, yeah, I made like a server. Fuck. I made a server. Honestly, that wouldn't even be too like fucking crazy. He could be like, I fucking made like an auto emailer, shit like that. Like he does just like lie about making the most impressive thing anybody could figure out, and it's like, no, you didn't fucking do that. Mutahar, you did not make a new lighting system that is like insane. You did not make RTX 2. You did not make an AI fucking codec.
I'm not going to speculate too much on why he chooses to lie so often. Other YouTubers, I'm sure, will do a lot more of that. But I will say, from what I've seen, he always does seem to carefully craft his lies, targeting projects and topics that he seems to think would give him the maximum amount of respect and admiration possible. Anyways, let's go back to Nicandros' vid and see what else he found on Mutahar.
I want to sell to Microsoft at some point later on, So I've been designing AI toolset that basically you can inject, hopefully, into like video tools, and this is gonna be like video games or whatever, right? So it's like, let's say that Microsoft backwards compatibility, right? So I had this tool idea. This is kind of what I got going in my head. So I have this idea, and I hope to one day sell it to Microsoft, right? So what I do is, since I have a really good video background, right? I've been designing neural stuff around
God.
it. So
What the fuck does that even mean, dude? God, that pissed me off so much whenever I heard it, because it's just like, you're doing shit that's like, God, you need like a fucking giant budget and a big company to even perform half of the shit he's talking about.
what I want to do one day is, you know how Microsoft has backwards compatibility, right? So would it be really fun if I could design a way that Microsoft could take the textures in their video games, right? So they could take the textures mapped in their video games and find a way to AI upgrade them. So like basically use a...
Also, fuck, this is so stupid. You don't need... This is insane. This is insane! We can be bees. This is just so deranged. Because the thing is that he talks about working on emulators, so he should know you don't need an AI to do that. You can, like, algorithmically upscale a game. And also, like, fucking Microsoft already does that. Whenever you're playing fucking Crimson Skies or the original Halo through backwards compatibility, or like a Halo 3 Xbox 360 through backwards download store that they've got on Xbox One or whatever fucking Xbox it is now, it's fucking upscaling to whatever resolution, and it's like okay at it. It's not great. It's better typically whatever running off of a proper emulator, like PlayStation 1 and 2 emulators will do this, like DuckStation or PCSX2 or RPCS3. Have like algorithmic fucking upscaling. He's so fucking crazy.
fucking photo AI, like basically use an artificial intelligence that can scan across, you know, all these textures and just fucking...
Dude, I love Nick Andrus's fucking editing in this section. It's great. It's just like putting photos of exactly what he's describing, but because like what he's describing is so deranged, it's hilarious. Whenever you just like throw fucking hieroglyphics on it, because yeah, that's about as understandable as what he's actually fucking saying. My God, I need to get some water. Can I pause the cutscene? Ooh. Thirsty. I'll be right back. Apple moose rocks. I'm back.
upscale them to like 4K, 8K, whatever they want to go to, and make games look better without needing, you know, developers to make it better, right? That could be an idea for me.
That's so stupid, because you would still need a developer to like make sure the AI doesn't go haywire. I mean, he said it before like the advent got big, right? But still.
It sounds simple on paper. Obviously, it's very, very, very fucking time consuming to make it even as effective as you want.
So that giant word salad aside, basically Mutahar wanted to create an AI image upscaler and one day sell it to Microsoft. Don't worry, I'm not going to start trying to badly explain how AI works or is made now, but let me just say there's already lots of image upscaler programs out there, and nearly all of the big tech companies have their own in-house solutions for image upscaling. I don't think Mutahar has the skills to build something like this, and I don't think this is something Microsoft would be interested in buying from him either, when they already have half a dozen solutions in-house already, not to mention their partner
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
with OpenAI and have access to all the cutting-edge research and work they've done.
Well, okay. That's like super, super fucking post hoc, because that was Mutahar in 2019, not Mutahar now. Although maybe he still believed it. Maybe he still believed that that's something he could do. But like, if he did think he could do it and sell and make mega millions, I guess he would have been talking about it or keep trying. I don't know.
Plus, there's tons of open source upscalers out there already, more than a decade old, like Waifu2x. And don't let the name fool you, it's one of the absolute best image upscalers for non-photorealistic images, and a fair number of game studios and developers have used it to upscale some of their textures for remasters or patch updates. All right, let's go back to Mutahar and see what else he talked about.
One of the code bases that we're looking at over here is this falling particle. Now, there's a lot of numbers that are being dropped in here, and one of the things that you'll tend to see in Pirate Software's code is magic number abuse.
Okay, I have a slight problem with this. For anyone that has seen my part 2 DRM analysis and code review on Pirate Software, you'll know magic numbers is something I myself criticize Pirate Software on in a lot of places in his code base. Now, for this very specific clip and file, I'm actually going to defend Pirate Software. GameMaker is an IDE, which is just a fancy term to mean the program helps you with coding. Specifically, these functions shown here on screen are built into GameMaker itself, and if you go over the arguments, you can actually see what they're called and what they do. While an argument could be made variables should be used, this is an extremely weak example and place to talk about magic number abuse. I find it a bit strange that Mutahar talks about coding and having experience with all sorts of crazy, complex, and difficult things, yet he doesn't seem to be able to think a bit more critically on a small code snippet. It seems like either he doesn't really know much and can't offer any commentary above an average non-tech commentator, or he was too lazy to check any of the code himself and was 100% repeating comments and issues he's heard or read from Reddit or other YouTubers and just assuming they were true without verifying the claims himself. Anyways, with that techie stuff out of the way, let's go back to the VX Underground tweet and finish reading what else they wrote. Basically, in the next paragraph, VX is like, Muta probably isn't any kind of security guy or hacker or programmer, but he has some basic knowledge. I agree with this partially. I watched a few of Mutahar's videos, and his explanations are mostly fine. They're very surface level to the point a non-tech person could probably explain it as well as he did if they just skimmed through Wikipedia or an article, but there's nothing egregiously wrong in the few I watched either. I don't think Mutahar knows a lot more than the average person from the way he presents info. It seems as though he just finds Reddit posts, articles, or other YouTube videos where someone who knows a thing or two explains it, then he spits back the info in a more noob-friendly way.
That's an interesting way of thinking about it. That sounds pretty likely. I just don't get the part where he's making shit up about himself doing it. Because yeah, no, maybe, yeah, that sounds like he probably does just read like a Dexerto article or like somebody's like fucking Hacker Weekly article, and then he, yeah, just like repeats it. But like, maybe that's exactly what he is doing. Maybe he's like well, they don't do it anymore, but like Humble Bundle used to have these like weekly or monthly like hacker bundles or tech nerd book magazine subscription bundles, and he's just essentially just copying off of that and saying, oh no, it's not like this random guy in Detroit, it's me, I'm the guy. I've seen that before. I don't remember who it is, but I have seen that before.
If you watch Mutahar's tech vids, you probably didn't learn anything too bad or damaging, but if you're going to keep watching him, you should be taking a much greater grain of salt whenever he decides to talk about tech topics. The next paragraph from VX is basically them suggesting Mutahar was exaggerating, but it could have some kind of tech job before. This I can't agree with. For anyone who hasn't watched Nicandrous' video yet, it's clear to see Mutahar's only plausible tech job experience was when he was around 17 or so in 2010 to 2011.
No, I work with wait, I shouldn't let that slip. Look, I've seen some extremely incompetent people in high up positions, okay? Not in my personal job much. But like there are people who get very high without knowing all that much. So I could actually see him having a tech job and like not really knowing what to do. Kind of like Thor, right? Thor has had tech jobs and is able to speak authoritatively on tech, even though he actually doesn't really have the credentials to well, it's not credentials necessarily, but he doesn't have like the knowledge base to actually give great advice. So I could see Mutahar having a tech job, just not being very good at it.
After that point, he never worked in tech again. In 2013, he basically went all in on his YouTube channel and film diploma. After graduating, he doubled down on YouTube and was working as a video editor. From a Facebook post Muta shared, he also states he was glad he could pursue his passion for film and not bother with programming careers anymore. Then if we fast forward to around 2019 to 2020, Mutahar states...
I mean, maybe that's why he was like so keen to start film and film production, is because he did have like a really, like a job that he just was not mentally prepared for. He did have like a coding job, or like a job where he put together computers, or I don't know, IT services. And he just like hated it and it sucked. And that's, yeah, I can see that.
A million different jobs and things he does.
I'm a fucking editor in real life anyways, so ever since I became a video editor and that was my job in life, I work as a video editor. You know, that's my job.
By trade, what I do for a living is video editing.
Am I a fucking passionate video editor? Do I like my job? Yes, I do. My job is video editing. I'm a video editor by trade.
No, I'm video editor. You know, that's a general second profession of mine, is day trading, swing trading, whatever you want to call it. I do a lot of calculations in my head. I lose money, but I generally have an 80-85% success rate. And that's just the nature of this.
I invest. That's my job now. I just sort of sit home and invest money. All right.
God, Mutahar sounds like so miserable. He's trying to like make himself sound like he's got the best life, but it sounds like his job's kind of doesn't like it. Even if it's not true, which could like definitely contribute to it, but you think if he's like lying, he would at least sound happy about it.
As an engineer, if I show up to my office and I fuck up, okay, I don't have a job anymore. At our company, like not YouTube, but outside YouTube, like when it comes to our main work property and everything, like our like asset management, property development, stuff like that.
That's your main thing?
I literally just invest money. Like I buy property and I invest, and that's all I do now.
He's a full-time daily upload YouTuber. He has a podcast. He sometimes live streams. He's a day trader. He does real estate investments through his company. He's also a landlord and his tenants. He's a family man with a wife and kids, and he still has enough free time to game for hours per day. Plus, he runs a skincare product company with his podcast co-host. Then he also has enough free time to randomly investigate other YouTube.
Wait, he runs a fucking skincare company? When did that happen? I had no idea he did that.
And finally, on top of all of that, he's
also he I think he does still do a podcast. I don't think that I don't think the Nux Taku Some Ordinary Gamers podcast actually ended up getting canceled.
I was supposed to have enough free time in the day to have a full-time 9-to-5 office engineer tech job too somehow. I'm sorry, but no one with a brain can actually believe this. There simply aren't enough hours in a week to do all these things, and most of these things require work within the same time periods of the day. Let's check over the last parts of the VX Underground tweet and see what's left. Okay, for the paragraph about how tough being a YouTuber can be, and everyone makes mistakes, like I can agree everyone makes mistakes, might misspeak, and things can be nitpicked, but his engineer claims aren't nitpicks. He's been repeatedly calling himself that for over a decade.
I'm an engineer. I'm a fucking engineer.
I'm a goddamn engineer. I'm an engineer.
I'm a fucking engineer. I'm an engineer.
I'm only an engineer. Okay, I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer. I'm just an engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm just a fucking engineer. I'm a goddamn engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer. As an engineer, being an engineer, I don't have to tell you as an engineer. I'm just a dumb engineer as an engineer. My engineer asked, but as an engineer, so I'm just a fucking dumb fucking engineer. Like I can tell her, like I'm an engineer, but I'm an engineer. As an engineer, I'm an engineer. As somebody that is an engineer, as an engineer. I'm saying I'm the number one engineer as an engineer. As an engineer. All right, as an engineer, I'm just an engineer. Speaking as somebody that is an engineer, I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer.
This isn't a mistake he made one or two times. This is something he deliberately chose to talk about and used to help build himself up for more than a decade. Also, for the last paragraph from VX, I don't know if this is just a me thing, but why jump into a discussion without checking over a bit of the context and accusations first? Anyways, I see your cat pic and I'll raise you my Google search cat picture. Okay, with those things out of the way, what was Mutahar's response to this drama?
Start talking a little bit. I know there's been some drama, and I want to kind of address things here really quickly. So obviously, I have been calling myself a engineer, in some cases a programmer, a cybersecurity engineer, whatever you can call it. And, you know, I apparently have also been a dropout, which I don't hide. Now, obviously, me being a dropout...
Dude, he's not even, like, talking honestly about that. He's like, I've apparently been a dropout, which, yeah, I am. It's just a bit too snide for me. I feel like you should just be like, yeah, I dropped out. I don't hide that. I've said that all the time.
I don't have a degree, so I'm not a certified or licensed engineer. Now, if you feel offended, if you feel wronged that I called myself an engineer while not being a degree-holding engineer, then for that I do apologize. And I will denigrate myself to, I guess, programmer or a fat Indian guy that knows a bit about computers. That's what I'll leave it at. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Dude.
Now, again, if you...
The way that he says that just sucks cock and balls. Because it's so self-denigrating that it almost feels like a defense tactic. Where he's like, all right, I'm not an engineer. I'm just like a dumb programmer. I'm just a fat Indian guy. I'm not an engineer. Okay, you guys got me. I'm just a fat fucking idiot. And it's like, dude, it's like... Are you still trying to like garner sympathy or something? Like fucking knock it off. Just like take it on the chin. Whatever, dude.
If you want to stick around, awesome. If you still feel wronged and this does not suffice for you, then I don't really give a fuck. Simple as that.
So basically, after a week of radio silence from him, he uploaded a 30-minute video about censorship. Within it, he spent like 1 minute being like, yeah, I'm not an engineer. I'm sorry you feel that way, and I don't care what you
Oh, dude, that's fucking ironic as fuck that he made a video about censorship. That's where he apologized, said, I don't give a fuck. And then is like censoring the word engineer in his fucking chats. Yeah, okay, buddy. That's very... You totally don't care. You totally don't give a fuck. Yeah, alright, buddy. Okay, pal. Okay, tough dude.
think about that. This engineer drama wasn't the only call out he had, but he seems to have chosen to not talk about any of the other dramas. Also, I'd even call him out on using the title programmer. Maybe I'm being a bit too nitpicky, but does Mutahar ever actually code anything on his own? Most of the time in his videos, I see him copying and pasting code or scripts. He always seems to be copying stuff from an existing article or how-to guide. Like, he doesn't have to be a great programmer or anything. I just like to see him actually show he can do some basic coding by himself. You'd expect from a junior programmer. But again, I'm probably being way too nitpicky at this point, and it probably doesn't matter too much. Anyways, from everything shown so far from Nicandros, it really doesn't seem like Mutahar does any kind of tech work. He's a tech enthusiast at best, and that seems to be the extent of things. If he has code somewhere or a GitHub or anything else, I'm willing to check over and give him a pass on the programmer title, but from the way things look currently, he still seems to be frauding and lying. He's basically using a few months of Nepo connection job experience from when he was a teenager as a justification to call himself a programmer or engineer today, more than 14.
Where'd the Nepo part come from? Is that like a slip because people have been talking about pirate software so much and this guy's been talking about where'd the Nepo part come from? Am I confused? Did Mutahar actually get a job from his dad or something? Because, yeah, alright.
Years later. Now, let's talk about the actual impact and fallout from Mutahar being a fake engineer. Mutahar's early YouTube success and fame came from him reading creepypastas and exploring random websites over Tor and just sharing weird things he saw. So it's not like his tech or engineering claims really matter during the early years of his channel, and these days he's basically the bargain bin moist critical, rambling about a random topic for 20 to 30 minutes per day. So does the fact he's a fake engineer matter? Not really, no. It's kind of sad and pathetic to lie and pretend in front of a teenage audience to feel cool, but there isn't a whole lot of damage done to anyone. Now, a lot of people are calling...
That sounds a bit mean, but I think that's actually pretty true if he's like a creepypasta channel. His audience probably is like mostly teenagers.
This a nothing burger drama. While I can agree the engineer stuff isn't a super massive issue, I find it incredibly odd that the collective internet, myself included, completely rate pirate software over the coals, while a huge SWAT are giving Mutahar a complete pass for basically lying the exact same way. While I don't think this is a big enough
that's totally true. I totally think that's true. I guess my only other criticism would be like it's not just that. I mean, that's certainly a big part of it, but I fucking hate the Nux Taku part of this whole thing.
Yet to toss away Mutahar. I do think this should have gotten more pushback from his audience, especially when he considered this is exactly the kind of drama and think he himself would rip someone apart for over 2 to 3 videos.
Absolutely.
Yet because he's the one in the hot seat, all of a sudden it doesn't matter at all, and he doesn't care in the slightest. Also, this drama isn't ending here. Some other YouTubers have also started going through other dramas Mutahar was involved in with a much finer comb now. One YouTuber called Accounting on YouTube has basically done his own
Ah,
research
that's
into
what it was. Accounting and YouTube.
the completionist charity drama and has determined Mutahar was in over his head and made a lot of mistakes. Some YouTubers are looking into the Mama Max drama and claims now too, and Nicandros' video that started all of this was just a small teaser. Apparently later this month he's going to be releasing a massive video truly exposing Mutahar. I have no clue what's going to be in it, so we're all going to have to wait and see what he drops before he can fully wrap up this drama one way or another. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys and gals for the time being. If you like what you saw, like, subscribe, and share the vid, and I am out.
Good job.
Oh, I said no some ordinary gamers
Okay.
videos for the
Okay. Wait. Stopped. Yeah, that was Patrician TV's Pirate Software almost solo movement. Yeah, dude, fucking Mutahar sucks. It's crazy because either he doesn't realize or he's trying to bury it. And I think he's trying to bury it. And even though, okay, so in my estimation, what he's done is he's basically built a pillar of credibility under computer science, which is probably like most of what he talks about. Like he has his dark web series when he's not doing drama, which he said that he wouldn't do. I've never seen him do drama since he said that. It's mostly computer science stuff, right? So whenever he talks about something else, well, he has this like one pillar of supposedly being the super smart computer guy. And that pillar is like completely eroded now. And it's only a matter of time until everybody just like falls over, until he like starts losing people, because without that credibility, all he has is people who just like his personality, which seems to be completely fake as well from this whole thing. Because with that pillar falling, with him being like, I don't care, I don't give a fuck, especially, that apology is really bad. Because it makes him incongruent with all of the criticisms he's made of other people. Which is exactly what that guy just said, but like, it'll be slow, like with Jason. Jason's stuff took about like half a year, I think, for everything to really like hit him. But Pirate Software. Mutahar has to hold on to like freaks at this point, like Nuxtaku. And the only like, it is his fault, don't get me wrong. If Mutahar just threw Nuxtaku under the bus, I don't think anybody would be even thinking about criticizing him at this point. Well, if he held Nuxtaku under the bus instead of just putting him in front and then taking him away from it. Turn off some lights. So he's just like deranged. I don't think that there is like a good path forward for him unless he just gives like a straight up apology and kind of like tries to fix what he's done for. Otherwise, I think he's incredulous. Is that the right word? He is lacking credulity. And at this point, he's lacking competence. Because another thing people don't realize, a lot of the investigation stuff that he's pulled, while he's helped with some of it, a lot of it is helped by like other people that he knows. A lot of the Mama Max stuff, he did contribute a lot to it, but I don't think he contributed as much as people give him credit for. That's just my opinion, though. I don't have like a measure on that, and I'd have to like actually go into it. But I think he got a lot of help from like Discord people. Okay, so here's a follow-up from Mutahar. Did not break the law. We were looking at that engineer situation in Ontario.
the foreseeable future after the mistakes I made. But I think this is a special exception, as I'm fulfilling a promise I already made to follow up on something.
Yeah.
My fact-checking is finished. I've got my answers. Fact-checking about what, you may ask? Well, in friend of the channel Nicandros' video called Mutahar has been a fake engineer for 10 years, he floats the idea that Mutahar could be breaking Ontario law.
Now, I do want to give the disclaimer that I'm not a lawyer or a Canadian. I'm just a guy who looks stuff up online, and based on what I've read, it's actually illegal to call yourself an engineer if you are not a licensed engineer.
And he made a stronger implication about this later.
At least Pirate Software's lies didn't break the law.
If you saw me stream watching that video, you'll know I was critical of this escalation into legal territory as it was first brought up, when I felt there was a lack of certainty. And I wasn't sure that disclaiming your lack of expertise was enough to justify dropping that. Initially, I didn't think about it too much though, and watching the rest of the video, I just let it slide. Accepted it as, yeah, okay, maybe. After all, he did again emphasize his uncertainty in the last few minutes of the video.
Once again, I am not a lawyer. It might not be illegal for Mutahar to lie about being an engineer.
But over the next couple days, I watched this idea that he was breaking the law spread. People were squabbling about it all over the place. Very annoying to see, but it also became apparent to me that there was value in clearing this up one way or the other.
Yeah,
like I said in my other video.
Like, in Chud's stream, Chud said that this whole legal thing about potentially him being an engineer created an issue with... Okay. Creating an issue with the video. It puts like a lot of the video at risk and makes like an easy thing for him to just deflect. For Mutahar to just deflect by being like, yeah, I didn't actually do anything illegal. But I think it was couched enough for that not to like really be an issue. But I can understand why people would think that, but I think it's mostly okay. And I guess the bigger thing is nobody even wanted Mutahar to go to jail. Nobody wanted like a bad legal outcome for this. It was simply a way to like receive answers that there's already a legal function for. And I think that's like, I don't want fucking Mutahar to go to jail. I just think he's like lying and being super weird about the whole ordeal.
See, I'm not just a hater, I'm testing claims other people have made. If they're wrong about it being illegal, I'll make sure everyone knows what goes down. If they're right about it being illegal, maybe you shouldn't have blocked people from saying engineer because it's actually you who can't say it. I genuinely don't know which is true though, which is why I asked the experts. To be clear, as you can hear there, I do think it would be really funny if he was correct. And based on my reading into it as a layman, I thought it was possible that some of the things that were pointed out could genuinely fall foul of legislation, so to uncover the truth, what I did was decide to completely destroy Mutahar's life by reporting some of his videos to Professional Engineers Ontario who, if he's believed to be in violation, would likely inflict the insane punishment of asking him to please stop pretending to be an engineer. Yeah, that's kind of their thing. The majority of what they do is either ignoring old websites or asking people who have not illegally worked as unqualified engineers, but who simply falsely call themselves engineers, to voluntarily stop doing that. Look man, I'm a loose cannon. Mutahar potentially being politely asked to stop lying was a risk I was willing to take to get to the truth. And I agree with Mutahar's argument he made during his coverage of the Open Hand Foundation. You're not going to manifest criminal charges out of asking, and it's what these organizations are for. It is also a much less serious thing being brought to a much less imposing body. Of course, if there was a problem and someone refused to comply with their request, then they'll start trying to nail them. And maybe I wound people up a little bit by talking.
There's not like an opening here to like really talk about it, but like, yeah, I think that's true. I think what I already said kind of covers that.
About the fines that can come out of that. Not in my videos, but in my streams. But were that to happen, an easy solution will be to simply stop breaking the law if they ask you.
Well, okay, so now that I think about it, there are other openings in Nicandros's video for criticism. I think what happened? Like, Dojangles called it a light dox. It was like, that's a bit silly, but I can understand where she's coming from completely. But at the same time, Mutahar's like, I don't care if people know where I live. See, it seems like something that she should take up with him. But yeah. I don't think any of this like really destroys the video. What I'm trying to say.
You too. Even the politician they tried to make an example of a decade ago, simply for saying in a televised debate that he's an engineer, was let off the hook when he apologized. It is true that there are technically potentially heavy fines, but you have to really go full retard to actually be hit with them. It's not exactly high stakes. The alleged illegal activity is all on tape, so there's no uncertainty about what's actually happened. This isn't just some nut making claims. The licensing body encourages anyone to get in touch regarding any possible violation, and they actually suggest that their hotlines are a way to clear up exactly the uncertainty I had about these claims being made. I understand people's hesitance to bring online IRL, but I think here that happened when the idea of him breaking the law spread, with people believing the guy's a criminal or something. And besides it potentially being really funny if, after censoring people saying engineer, it turned out he's not allowed to use that title.
Well, again, like I said, nobody reasonable, I guess, would want Mutahar to go to jail over being like, I'm a computer engineer. I think that's pretty ridiculous.
On the other side of it, it also sucks to be called a criminal by a bunch of people when you're not, and it's easily checked. Either way, people should know. So I checked, and I wanted it in writing so I could clear it up for everyone with proof. So what I did was email them the ad Mutahar did for Intel, where he used his claim of having worked as an engineer to boost his credibility, and claimed that he still was an engineer in the comments, alongside a few other much more recent examples of him claiming to be an engineer in a way that sounded to me like he was saying it may be his profession, which is the threshold for saying you're an engineer to be a violation, specifically in Ontario. Probably doesn't work like this where you live. First response was quick, and they simply said that I didn't provide enough evidence that Mutahar is connected to Ontario, but that they'd reconsider looking into him if I provided proof of that. So I sent them his Twitter bio and some clips of him saying that's where he lives. Fast forward to yesterday, and my prediction came true. My prediction is that they won't care. Here's my 200 IQ master plan. I'm gonna get PEO officially saying he has done nothing illegal, and then make a hit piece on Nicandros for not reporting him and checking whether it was illegal or not, for being lazy. All right. It is the opinion of Professional Engineers Ontario that the evidence I provided does not constitute a violation of Ontario law. They quoted the provision in the statute I showed you earlier to emphasize that it's not literally using it alone that matters, which I understood, but brought up a point in that regard that I didn't expect. They said, an important consideration is whether or not the use of the title can clearly be attached to the province of Ontario. Although Mr. Anas is a resident of Ontario, none of his videos directly attach his use of the title to the province. If we were to interpret the statute otherwise, any person who called themselves an engineer on YouTube could be liable to prosecution.
That's weird. That's pretty weird to me. I think that's too liberal, I guess, of like, why do you even exist if you're not going to prosecute something like that? I mean, I guess that Slob News Network guy kind of covered that pretty well, but it's also like, he did call himself an engineer, he did get a sponsorship out of it, he lives in Ontario. It's mostly for if he's affecting people in Ontario, I guess. But what if somebody bought an Intel CPU, I guess, because of Mutahar's advertisement? And they're like, yeah, Mutahar's an engineer, he'll know what to do. And then their CPU breaks, or they're not happy with it, and they live in Ontario. Does that not count? I don't know. Maybe they'd have to prove that like there was damage done in Ontario for that to be the case. Not sure.
Ontario law, and that appears to be an absurd result. It would seem that despite being an Ontario resident, and perhaps even giving the impression he may be a professional engineer, he didn't in any video I sent or am aware of claim specifically to be an engineer in Ontario, which would now appear to be a basic requirement for it to even begin to be considered a title violation. It's not enough that the guy doing it is connected to Ontario, the claim has to be. But of course he's saying it on YouTube and not connecting it to his province in those videos. They then brought up a US case where a man was fined for calling himself an engineer in an email, but successfully challenged it on First Amendment grounds to demonstrate why Mutahar's usage would be protected by Section 2 of the Canadian Charter. I don't personally understand how that relates to calling yourself an engineer on an ad for Intel, or broadcasting publicly you are an engineer, in contrast with being a professional lawyer.
That almost seems that they didn't look at it properly. That almost seems like... It just seems super weird.
But I'm not a lawyer either, which is why I asked the most relevant experts. And they wrapped it up by saying they don't see a need to look into it further, particularly because they have seen his apology, where he promises not to use the title engineer anymore. It would indeed, of course, be pointless to check any deeper when the typical action taken is to tell people to do what he's already agreed to do, wouldn't it? I won't speculate any further about that because I'm on the naughty step still and promised I wouldn't do that kind of thing for a while. But it would be remiss of me not to mention that Mutahar's apology followed Nicandros telling Mutahar's friend, who claimed to be talking to Mutahar about this, about the politician who was let off the hook when he apologized and stopped using the title.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. That's on Reddit, though. That's not in
conclusion,
the video.
It's still very easy to argue Mutahar shouldn't have used his claims of being various kinds of engineers, of having an engineering background, of having gone to school for engineering, of having gone into engineering and had it work out, and many other claims, the way he has to bolster his credibility, or even directly argue that things are true, including accusing people of things. You can still comfortably say he's wrong to do all these things, but he is at least not literally criminally wrong. And I think such suggestions should have been checked more thoroughly before floating them if you decide to explore that avenue. Even if you couch it in uncertainty, make it clear you're not an expert, and say he might not be breaking the law, you're still putting forward a case that's going to convince people. And escalating things to a level that's not justified by the level of certainty, without further checking, is not the worst thing in the world, especially given how he couched it. And don't get me wrong, most of Nicandros' video is absolutely great and stands regardless. And my understanding is that the whole engineering thing is just a side point to what he'll really be covering later this month. But throwing things like this out there...
At least Pirate Software's lies didn't break the law.
I think that warrants fact-checking and pointing out if it's off base. Obviously, his speculation could also have been...
I mean, it seems like it could have still broken the law. Because... even from what was said, it just seems like they're providing weird examples, they're not really going through with it. Maybe they don't take it seriously anymore, but the law is still in... I don't know. They made the decision. I guess they did.
Correct, which I would have made clear as well, but it seems it was not. And just because, as you may know, I'm friendly with the guy, doesn't mean I'm not going to be critical, as I'd hope he'd be with me. To his credit, as soon as I brought the results to his attention, he notified his audience, and I believe he plans to address it further. Anyway, you'll notice my tone's been a lot milder and less fun in this video. That's because I want to at least keep with the spirit of my apology video, even though you can hopefully understand why I felt obligated to make this particular update. I like to get a bit wild and have fun on the internet. I know a lot of people don't like my standard that anything someone's made public is fair game for any kind of commentary, and that won't be changing, but you gotta do it off a legit foundation, right? Anyway, take it easy, have a good day.
Gals and gals.
Oh, okay. I am definitely on the side of, like...
We've been investigating the NVIDIA GPU black market in China for the last...
Thank you, Gamers Nexus. Thank you. I'm not on the side of anything made public is up for game. I'm not super far from it, I don't think either, though. I think whatever you make on, like, on the video platforms is, like, 110% up for game. I agree with that. I think that's fine, dandy, good. I do not like digging... Well... I don't like digging into, like, LinkedIn's or Facebook's or anything like that. But on the other hand, Pirate Software. I'm actually getting them confused. Mutahar is, like, digging into, like, Pirate Software's LinkedIn. And he's, like, using, like, what... I don't know, what I guess he would consider to not be acceptable knowledge of himself, but he's using it for other people. And it's a total, like, hypocrite moment that I don't even think you can, like... You can't defend against that. You have to get somebody else to defend against it, like your wife. Like, Joe Jangle's position of... like, hey, don't dox us, that's reasonable. Mutahar's position of, I don't want to be doxxed, is unreasonable because he's the one putting the fucking information out there in the first place. I mean, it's not his full dox, but it's also like, hey, you're making this, like, way too fucking easy. So, like, I understand. But I do dislike it, too. I don't know.
Last 3 weeks.
Oh, I'm not even in the right video. Okay. So that was Harmful Opinions. He did that. I didn't even want it. I didn't want to skip through that because there are comments he's made. Wait, did he not pin his own comment? There's something like... Maybe it's in a different video? Harmful... I thought that was that video. Did we watch that? We probably did.
This video is going to seem like a joke, considering it's the first thing I've uploaded since Mutahar's response to recent drama, but I assure you it is absolutely not.
Here.
I'd like to apologize on...
I've seen a conspiracy theory post that I engineered an opportunity to do an apology video on the basis that I put this together immediately after hearing Mutahar's response, that the idea of an apology that starts with "this guy cheats on women with..." Oh, yeah, I didn't touch that, did I? Okay, then we'll watch this video because it's fucking funny.
Unreservedly to Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers and Ryan of Nexpo, as well as you, the viewer. This video has not been prompted in any way by any third party. I just decided this evening to check for information in a couple places I didn't, and it turns out I screwed the pooch. I went full retard. I did exactly what I would tear someone else apart for. I got a few pieces that seemed like they fit together, and instead of continuing to check and make sure, I boldly threw what I had out there, and even laughed at other people, when this time, I'm the joke. A link to my previous video with corrections in the description can be found below, but I'll summarize the problems here to try my best to correct what I've done wrong. I shared a clip of Mutahar talking about making out with his friend Ryan at his friend Kyle's wedding while he was in a relationship with a woman who was unhappy about that happening. I also shared a clip of Mutahar talking to Ryan of Nexpo about making out or potentially sucking his dick because he is so blackout drunk he won't remember it. Confirmation bias got the better of me. I went, okay, light bulb, that's the Ryan. However, having taken more time to look into it, which I should have before publishing a video, I no longer think that's clear and think there may be a different Ryan, who I found mentioned in older videos. Yep. Additionally, I said I suspected Kyle's wedding where this gay cheating occurred was a 2019 wedding that Mutahar had mentioned in a video. This is absolutely not the case, and Kyle's wedding occurred in 2017, further supporting the idea that the Ryan Mutahar made out with while having a girlfriend may not have been Nexpo, unless Mutahar knew him somehow before he started doing YouTube.
The original video I think is very funny.
I showed a clip of Mutahar talking to Dr. K about a girlfriend he'd had.
Even if it's wrong, it's fucking hilarious.
Having end-of-life care with serious heart conditions. I suggested this could have been the girlfriend he had at the time of Kyle's wedding, but now that I've found that details of Kyle's wedding actually are online, and it was in 2017, that must be incorrect. An absolute embarrassment. I don't know what I was doing not putting in the time I needed to, and I again apologize unreservedly to Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers and Ryan of Nexpo. I'm not sure how likely it is that either of you will see this, and I don't expect forgiveness given how intensely I went at and have been going at Mutahar, but I am genuinely ashamed of my lack of due diligence in this instance. Of course, actions speak louder than words. To demonstrate my remorse and my understanding of how badly I've failed here, not just with regard to the two public figures I've wronged, but also my duty to you, the audience, I will not be covering any further developments in this or anything to do with Some Ordinary Gamers beyond looking at other people's coverage on stream, because given my terrible performance in that previous video, I don't think it's reasonable to expect anyone to trust me when I publish original coverage. It's good to check things yourself and you shouldn't trust blindly, but that's not the reality of how people watch YouTube. Trust is a major factor. I've been presenting myself in a way that I simply didn't live up to in that last video, and when someone pretends to be something they're not, it would be ridiculous and wrong just to expect everyone to overlook that. Should something worth talking about come up in future, it will have to be after I believe I've earned the right to expect your trust back. I will make no defense of my... Many people would say that content like this is trash, worthless, petty drama. And in response, I would say, simply, yes. A couple years ago when I started living with my girlfriend, I also started watching the shows she likes with her. Married at First Sight, Love Island, Love is Blind. And you know what? I got it. I understood the appeal, and I realized there's way more of this to be found online, unscripted. Now maybe that makes me gay, but still, certainly not as gay as Mutahar is. But we'll get to that shortly. And I'm not just saying, look at him, he's gay. Longtime viewer of the channel who I've met in real life and done nothing with, Hexathian, is also gay, and he's a valued member of the community. You might know him as the creator of the ultimate YouTuber gay sex chart. This is not homophobic content. This is in fact specifically for the gays. And he in particular was very excited to see this clip of Mutahar that I found.
Now, at the time, I was in a relationship with another woman, right? Oh. And unfortunately, what happened was me and my best friend
got
Ryan,
more of a perfectionist ego than Pirate Software. Yeah. Yeah. I like Harmful Opinions. He does get a bit I don't want to say up his own ass because that's like completely wrong. But whenever it comes to an apology, if he gets something wrong, I do think he kind of does actually. Just like, yeah, you got it a bit wrong. It sucks. You could still cover the guy. I understand where he's coming from though. I just think it's like unnecessary.
All right, we're talking best friend. I've known Ryan for years. We were so wasted that at some point in the night, me and Ryan started fucking making out for the hell of it. Like, we're talking tongue in mouth. God. We made out. We got.
Could you imagine getting so drunk you start making out with your best friend? That's fucking creep. That's weird, dude. That's fucking weird as fuck.
Each other for like 10 seconds. And I woke up on the couch.
His girlfriend at the time apparently wasn't very happy with this.
I was told the entire hour back when I was driving, she was so pissed at me last night.
He says last night, but he clearly doesn't mean last night now. He's just wasted.
She was like, he
killed a man and begging for forgiveness to not get capital punishment. I do agree he's acting like he killed a man. He's acting like he stole like a bank and then it's like, guys, what I did was like, that's stole a bank? Oh my god, no. What the fuck? Mutahar. Yeah, Mutahar. He's acting like he stole like a charity tithe from a church. And it's like, as we'll see, this is like more funny than anything. I don't think it's that damning. Especially because it's, I don't know, in my opinion, it is so ridiculous that it like almost could not be true. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that. Maybe that's like easily believable, but I don't think Harmful Opinions provided like enough evidence in this video anyway. It's just really fucking funny.
Cheated on me with your friend. And then she laughed at me.
Ryan, the man he cheated on his girlfriend at the time with, appears to be the YouTuber Nexpo. And that isn't the only time he's talked about kissing him and potentially doing.
So I think where Harmful Opinions is getting that is purely because Nexpo's name also happens to be Ryan. But it's also like one of the most common like boy names ever.
More with him while drunk.
Hey, Ryan, can you please kiss Muda? No, please.
Also, yeah, why wouldn't you think that if they've like been dared to kiss before and probably have?
Unless.
I'm drunk enough,
I
dude. I won't remember
should have to super chat for that kind of
later on. Yeah, you have to do it all screen.
I'll suck his dick after, I'll let you know.
Perhaps he would even suck Ryan's dick. Maybe that even happened at his friend
I'll
Kyle's
even suck
wedding
his
from
dick.
the other story.
And you know how like the first thing you do is you like check your lips like,
no.
huh?
No.
Oh shit. I think I did something. And like I'm just like touching my lips.
I've
like,
never had that happen.
Just like
I've gotten pretty
like
drunk and I've never had that happen before.
I was like, huh. I think I fucked Ryan. You know what I mean?
Like I said, this is for the gays. I think you should know that if you have the hots for Muta, you're definitely in with the channel.
Now, I was wondering like what the fuck the guy did when I saw the apology video. Oh yeah.
And after all, he doesn't regret this experience at all.
Dude, it wasn't even like I regretted it. Like, it was fucking good. Looking guy.
It's just a little joke with a friend though, right? Haha, doesn't mean anything. Here's Mutahar's take on that idea from when he was on the Kino Casino last year.
You're not really joking when you're actually doing the degenerate thing, right? Like, it's like if you filmed like gay with your buddy. It's like, no, it's just a joke, bro. Like, you know, I'm not.
Yeah, dude. Bro, put balls in your mouth.
I'm just f***ing him off a little bit, right? Like, don't be weird about it.
And again, for the gays, I'm going to spill even more tea because I know you love that. It's entirely possible that Mutahar was cheating on a terminally ill woman with a man. So 2020 is when he's talking about this gay experience and flirting with a.
You're not gay. You're dating a terminally ill woman, and you're like, I'm just gonna have sex with men now.
Ryan. He says the actual makeout, or possibly more. He says he was blackout drunk and doesn't fully remember. He says this happened at his friend Kyle's wedding. It's hard to pin down when that happened. I can't find Kyle saying when it was, but I can find Mutahar saying he went to a wedding in 2019.
I was supposed to go to this New York wedding, and which I did, right?
which is the year before he told us about his gay experience. I was going to check the Cult Camp podcast, which he did with Kyle, whose wedding he went to, for mentions of New York. But while a few days ago when I started looking into the guy, that channel existed, it has since been deleted.
Whoa.
Possibly at Mutahar's instruction, because Kyle, the guy whose wedding Mutahar went to, has been defending him on Reddit and telling people that he's talking to him, and Mutahar says he's not going to respond. I would argue personally, however, that deleting fucking everything is a response, and it forces me to speculate and ask you to clarify, because to me it looks like it probably was. In 2024 you described that wedding as having happened a few years ago.
This photo is actually from my buddy Kyle's wedding. All right, this happened like, I want to say, a few years ago at this point too.
And we know it happened before that 2020 video, so I doubt it happened much longer before 2019. So I gotta ask, was that 2019 wedding Kyle's? Because if it was, I think I know who you were dating. In 2021 he had an interview with Dr. K where he talked about dating a woman who was terminally ill.
So I'm gonna jump a little bit here, okay? So what you can make sure of is that you don't fall in love with someone that acts of God can take away from you.
Right. Lord knows I made that mistake. Yeah. They're still fine now, don't worry. Like, they have a few more years to go.
Nah, don't worry, bro. It's chill.
Oh my
They're just gonna
God.
croak next year.
Yeah, guys, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
Don't worry. I can cheat on her a little bit. She's got a few more years left. I can make it up to her. She's not gone yet.
You know, it's a rare thing when I say something like that is like a hypothetical.
No.
Also note, just want to note, this is like completely untrue. Harmful Opinions made a lot of like, I think reasonable assumptions, but they are still assumptions. They're guesses and not true. And they sound good when put together, but there's evidence to the contrary. Not evidence for exactly whatever it was. So it's fucking hilarious.
Oh, no, this person has a...
But it's wrong.
Well, I'll tell you, this person has a POTS, so it's tachycardia. It's really bad. They have a couple more syndromes regarding it, like long QT and everything of that nature. So for them, they have had to get like sinus node surgery modifications, like burning on their hearts and things like that.
This all makes sense, by the way. People with POTS get ablation done.
Doctors have told, specialists.
Someone told me Muto had a few gigs or terabytes on his PC. I would not be surprised of what gay porn. Look, I'll be real. After hearing what he said in those other like clips, I wouldn't be surprised either. He probably has at least a little bit.
Who are trained in this field have started to, give up and sort of give like end of life. I have to be told about like what a DNR is, like a do not resuscitate order.
With all the issues she had, this girlfriend was apparently terminal. And when did he date her?
Can you tell me how old you were when you met this person?
I would say that I was 20.
Oh, CP? Oh. I'm not sure. I don't think I would go that far. But the only thing that makes me doubt that, or like gives it a chance at all, is because he did that one video where he like explored like a CP like mine or website or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, I just explored this like YouTube comment CP website. And guys, don't go there. Here's how you go there. Here's what I did to go there. Do not do this. How much that guy is on the dark web. That too, yeah. Maybe. I don't think so. Not saying I couldn't see it at all, but I really don't think so. He's just like such a weird guy in so many other ways, though. Like, why did you go to a CP website? You know? And tell people how to get there. Yeah, I don't know.
24? So about 3 years ago.
This makes sense as well. In earlier 2019, he talked about being single for over a year.
Guess what? You want to know? I've been single for fucking well over a year now.
And then a bit later that year, he talks about being in a relationship.
Are you single? Yes or no? No, I'm not single, Chai. I'm actually very well committed to somebody. So.
Met her when he was 24, which he would have been from 2018 to 2019. Was single but ended up dating someone in 2019 at some point. That's our girl. And if that 2019 wedding was Kyle's, the one where you made out with Ryan or Nexon on YouTube. Oh boy. Mutahar, I'm gonna add another question to the pile. Did you break up with a terminally ill woman because you're gay and cheated on her? It's just like my girlfriend's TV shows. Like, this is sub-trailer trash shit. Jeremy Kyle or Jerry Springer would hesitate to platform this. In the 2021 interview with Dr. K, he told us that up to that day, he'd still tell her that he wished things had been different.
Does she know how much she means to you?
Yeah, I tell her that. Yeah. I tell her that, at the end of the day, I wish things could have been different. But, they're not.
What, you wish you were straight? It's okay to be gay, Mutahar. You should probably tell your wife, though. Why don't I just ask him and clear this up, you might suggest. I've already emailed him about some stuff. I've been ignored. I'm not going to keep pestering him. That would be harassment. If he doesn't want to talk to me, that's fine. I'll just continue to ask these things publicly, because this is all public media. By the way, if you think this is crazy digging, and at the same time you want to say Mutahar's credentials don't matter because he's taught you a lot and he knows his stuff, he's a cyber and information security expert, just self-taught. There's a problem, because finding everything I've shown you took me about an hour. If you put together all the time I've actually spent actively digging...
This is a part where I could see, like, why Harmful might be a bit more, like, apologetic, is just because he's gloating about how easy this was all to come across. And then it actually being, like, not true at all. That could play into it.
Tops. I haven't been sitting here for a week systematically researching the guy. It's just spits and spurts of, what if I checked this? What if I checked that? If you didn't know you could do this, he hasn't taught you shit. You ever read Catch-22? If anything I'm doing is wrong, then I'm right about him misrepresenting how good he is. And speaking of Catch-22s, there's a funny little wrinkle I haven't seen people talking about. The main drama is that he's called himself an engineer for 10 years, right? People want him to come out and apologize for saying that, or assert that he is or was an engineer. If he does that, though, that statement itself could be a title violation. Where he lives, licensing bodies have gone after people simply for saying...
Oh, okay. I'm starting to see some conflicting opinions here. Some harmful opinions. Oh. With one of the videos him being like, oh, it wasn't like a super like important thing about him being an engineer. I didn't personally think that it was. And then in this video being like, that's like the main criticism. I mean, it ties into the main criticism for sure, but it's not the main criticism at all. It's more like a credulity thing, lying constantly thing.
Saying they're an engineer.
That's
publicly.
Just the biggest
In 2016,
example.
they charged a
It could just be
politician
a
for
talk
saying he was an
way.
engineer in a debate. Charges were only dropped as a result of him agreeing to make a public apology and a donation. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand how badly his hands are tied if he wants to defend himself? If he isn't and has never been licensed, he can't say he did engineering because he'd be in danger. That would be way worse than just saying he's an engineer. The guy from Ontario who claims to have an engineering background can't say he doesn't know all this, because that would prove he doesn't have a background in engineering. It's just layer upon layer of trap after trap. Like, no shit he's not responding. And if he does, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
So that's why I went to engineering.
And that was a total misprediction. Because he's been, like, responding, like, in subtle ways, like blocking fucking engineer from his chat. And, taking, like, a week to respond. Otherwise, like, radio silence and having Doe talk on Twitter instead. And then whenever he finally does respond, people didn't really care. Which, I don't remember what my prediction was. Maybe I was totally on board with it. But I feel like from post, hindsight's 2020, right? I feel that this was probably not going to work, because if people didn't care about Mutahar associating with Nux Taku and Chadman and whatever, why would they care about fucking this? Why would they care about him lying about being an engineer? I think people who are like super on board with Mutahar are just like, I don't know, maybe they're a bit too sycophantic. I don't care about the engineer thing almost like at all. I don't give a fuck. Because I think it's, I don't know, it's not super reasonable, but it's also not super like out there either. The main thing for me is the Nux Taku Association, which is why I'm so excited for fucking Nick Andros' next video, because I think that's probably what's going to be mostly on. But I just think Mutahar's audience just doesn't give a fuck.
Worked out.
Did it, Muta? Anyway.
Which also, god damn, like Mutahar was one of those people who's like, my audience is my lifeblood. My audience is my closest friends and family. And if they don't give a fuck about anything you do, are they really your friends and family? Do they really even hold you accountable for the shit you've said and done? So is that even more lies? Like, hey, oh my god. Because he's like, if even one person unsubscribes, I cry. I cry. But then it's like, yeah, holy shit. He's just always been a liar.
I don't know. I just think that's neat. I think it's really funny. Hope you do too. Have a good day. Don't imagine there's much more to talk about now unless something happens.
Yeah, totally true. Untrue. Totally untrue, actually. But it's fucking funny. Where the fuck do I go? Oh, grappling hook. And then Mutahar didn't kind of responded. We went over in the Slop News Network video. But he has like this video where he's like kind of just, he has insomnia, right? I think he's got a lot. I think Mutahar actually has like a few mental issues. One of them's probably an inadequacy complex, because from what he said, like his family is like insane in terms of like, my dad's a heart surgeon, my mom's a lawyer, my uncle's a, I don't remember, but his uncle was something. I think he has like anxiety issues from watching like Nick DiOrio talk about it. And I think he has insomnia, which definitely doesn't help anything. That probably makes things a lot worse. And in this video, he kind of just meanders and talks about what he's feeling, what he's going through. And he's like tangentially, very tangentially talks about the engineer stuff.
It's me, Mutahar, and you know, ladies and gentlemen, I got some late night thoughts. You ever try to fall asleep and insomnia kind of flashbangs you, and you're just completely awake? Well, that's where we're at. Thank God, no sleep paralysis. Now, I wanted to kind of talk about some stuff here. You know, I just wanted to like kind of talk with the community, if you will, talk with the people watching. I usually hate these kind of videos because, generally speaking, you know, I should just upload and move on and sort of like, you know, do my stuff. But you know, I was watching some older videos of mine, and you know, to be fair with you,
videos
it's sometimes ideal to just kind of course correct a little bit. Now, one thing I want to start off by saying
shit,
is,
are you okay?
You know, people on the internet have burnout, and to an extent,
okay,
you know, I would
fine.
say
She's
that there
crazy.
is some level of burnout that occurs, and it's not just because, like, you know, I upload, you know, videos around daily. Something.
I'm gonna skip back a few seconds. Well, he's just. Asking me to restart. Dude probably didn't do well in school when he finally got to college, dropped out, and feels being a YouTuber is below being what his family is. Yeah, I think that's totally true. I think that's 100% accurate. Is that he's He totally has an inadequacy complex. I guess my main thing with that, though, you can find love anywhere, right? But he's dating somebody who's a streamer. He's dating a streamer rather than somebody... And don't get me wrong, streaming is, like, can be difficult, especially if you're doing it daily or for, like, a primary income. It can take its toll. But if he does have an inadequacy complex, and I think he does, I'm surprised that he's not, like, aiming for, like, a lawyer or, like, a heart surgeon. Because I feel like a lot of people who do have inadequacy complexes tend to, excuse me, view even romance as like a ladder climb.
That, you know, I've kind of been doing, and I'm sure.
Although maybe he did, you know, he dated a terminally ill girl, and then a few other girls, and I don't know, maybe Dojangles is just the next rung. Who knows? Nah, I think that's going way too far. Which actually, how the fuck do you fail college? That shit is easy. Yeah, it totally is. I couldn't fail college. I slept through all of my classes and I couldn't fail college. And I turned out better than a lot of the people there. So it's like, yeah, how the fuck? I will say IT does kind of give you an inadequacy complex because you get taught a lot of like complex shit that you never actually use. At least whenever you're in like the basic stuff. Maybe that's a part of it. I don't know.
Some people have noted for like the last like couple like years is that obviously the content that I've made is not so much diversified. I was watching videos from like 2019, 2020.
He also did get a degree. He did end up getting a degree in like video production, which okay. I don't think you need a degree in that. I don't think you need that to like learn how to edit, but okay, bud.
And some of them were wild, okay? You know, you got videos as old as Weeaboo's Screamer Cringe where, like, the Muto laugh meme came out of. And then I was watching videos where apparently, like, I was playing, like, obscure Japanese PS2 games about bomb defusals. And one of the reasons why I'm making this video is my internet just died. Like, I think some drunk asshole ran into, like, a data center and completely destroyed the internet, okay? Like, I am loading pictures.
Why does he gotta, like, make up these weird stories? How does he know that? Is he just he's just bullshitting? He's tired.
Slower than the AOL dial-up days, which by the way is dying. So the thing about it is I played, you know, an old PS2 game. I played some Grand Theft Auto, like obscure Brazilian trash on the PS2, and I had a pretty good damn time doing it. Now, the thing about like YouTube is one of the things that I kind of have noticed that I've done for the last 12, I would say 24 months even, right, is, you know, I've kind of went into this almost late stage capitalist mindset. You know, one of the things is obviously I would say that I cover a lot of trending stuff. And in some cases, I definitely have probably fell into like the over coverage of like, you know, internet dramas, things of that nature. And, you know, I'm not going to just say that I wouldn't want to cover something that I'm interested in, because generally if I'm interested in something, I'm going to talk about it, as is what the point of a YouTube channel is. But watching a lot of the older stuff that I did, you know, where I was like, you know, hunting for Bigfoot and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, not even just like the deep web, like the deep web stuff is cool, but I was watching like older haunted games.
AOL shut down in their dial-up service. No, AOL. Actually, I did get personally affected by that. I had some relatives who still use their AOL email. Actually, is that still up? I wonder if that is up. Is AOL email still up? Oh, yeah. Apparently the email is not a problem Oh, okay.
Naming like creepypasta videos and everything too. And it's funny, watching old creepypasta videos, it's like, most of it was just, I would get home, I would sit in front of like the creepypasta wiki, I'd find me something that was absolutely juicy, read through it, do a little analysis, and then just kind of upload it. I wouldn't say that any video that I've uploaded is like a technical masterpiece. It really is just like me putting together something that I find interesting and uploading it. And I feel like 2019, 2020, 2021 was...
Is that just not like a self-admittance that you have no pride in your work? I don't know. For somebody who, like, their degree actually did end up being in video production, this guy is, like, has no video production credits. Which is so weird, because I think video production is, like, everybody wants to make a movie. Everybody wants to, like, have a great editor. That's, like, one of the most important positions. And he's just like, yeah, I'm going to use my video editing, my video production skills to do little bits and bobs and fucking daily slop content. Okay. Can you just integrate it into Google anyway? Yeah, I think you can. I think AOL is like basically like trying to get people off of its infrastructure completely, so it doesn't run into like a legal issue or whatever.
Probably like the best gosh darn era that I've actually enjoyed on the internet. I think that was when I was like most diverse. And one of those things is, obviously, I think I should probably just go back to it. Now, one of the reasons why, like, I make this video is that obviously there's a lot of people that say, I wish you talked about creepypastas. I wish you uploaded this. And generally, whenever I do upload that kind of stuff, the videos tend to absolutely tank in terms of performance. And that's not something that's like super duper shocking to me. It's just par for the course, right? Generally, people love the trending stuff tend to absolutely tank in terms of performance. That you talked about creepypastas. I wish you uploaded this. And generally, whenever I do upload that kind of stuff, the videos tend to absolutely tank in terms of performance.
Yeah, people don't care about creepypastas
like super duper
anymore.
Shocking to me.
They can just watch your old videos,
right? Generally, people love the trending stuff. People like, any internet controversy discussion a lot more than, the traditional standard stuff. That's just how the internet tends to work in that space. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, shifting the shift of all my content to that was ever a good idea. And
what to like what to creepypastas or to like daily news?
That's just one of the things where, like, ultimately I want to kind of ask you guys, what really is it that you guys want to watch from like that 2019, 2020, 2021 era?
I want the real Mutahar back, the steel Mutahar back, the free Mutahar, Mutahar. I want the Mutahar back who will apologize. I want the Mutahar back with no lies. I want the Mutahar back who can tell the truth. And I want the Mutahar back. I don't have anything else that'll rhyme with that. I never watched Mutahar. I was never like a fan because I didn't care about creepypastas. I think the thing is he's just like, this is his job. He'll lie about it as much as he fucking wants. But this is his job, and he needs to make money from it. And he's like begging people to like, hey, please let me out of the slot mines. Let me be free of the slot mines. I need 500,000 views on a creepypasta video. I need 500,000 views on a GTA 3 Let's Play, okay? Because he wants to be lazy. He doesn't want to like make a product that he cares about. He wants to make free money and spend all of the rest of his time fucking jacking off or hanging out with dough. And that, I don't think that's respectable. It's always nice to relax, and I think people deserve to relax at least once in a while. Even companies agree. Companies give you 2 weeks of PTO typically. But it seems like Mutahar just wants to fucking jerk off all day and make like the most low effort basic content possible. And it sucks. He doesn't need to go back. He needs to move on. He should make a movie. He should edit for someone. And honestly, maybe that would be the outcome. If this whole Nick Andros thing really does take down Mutahar, maybe the best outcome for him is becoming someone's like no-name editor like Mama Max did for a while. And then coming back and doing something he's actually passionate about. Because it just seems like he doesn't fucking care.
You know, one of the things that, you know, I kind of have fallen into, and I think most creators can agree with this, I've actually talked to a couple creators like this. There's a mentality that happens to you when, you know, you make YouTube videos and you kind of run into this like snowball effect where, you know, when one video
no, I need a job. Really well, no, I need to make money to live and eat.
Because that's really what YouTube, you know, as a platform, algorithmically, systemically actually rewards you for. But that's the problem. You fall into the algorithm rot, and that's just you basically putting yourself into a corner. And that's one of the things that...
only if you can't make money from the whatever else new thing you want to do. Which maybe Mutahar can't, but like, holy shit, dude. Maybe you don't deserve it if people don't care to watch your low-effort bullshit. And I mean, that's kind of where I am. I mean, I don't care though. This is a hobby. It's not a job. I like doing this. It lets me fucking play video games and chill out and watch videos that I think I have input on. I think that's nice. I'm a little bit passionate about this whole thing, this whole whatever I'm doing. And Mutahar doesn't have any passion left. It's like... maybe he should find something he's passionate and cares about. I don't know, man. If he doesn't like drama, don't do drama. If you don't like politics, don't do politics. And it's like, oh, I do it because it gets a lot of views and money. Well, good for you. Who cares? Okay, Mr. Day Trader. Okay, Mr. owns a bunch of 7-Elevens. Okay, Mr. fucking runs a successful skincare company and podcast. Just chill out and do your podcast. I don't know. Is he so like greedy? Is he so money hungry? Does Joe like does Dojangles just go to the casino and Mutahar needs to fucking afford that? Like she's spending fucking $10,000 a fucking day at the casino. And you need to make your fucking daily slot videos to afford fucking Clankies to afford fucking one-armed bandit. My brother attends the Naval Academy and just got initiated, and they have these weird-ass energy drinks there, and I'm gonna try it, Lamau. Congrats to your bro. That sounds great. Muta probably just needed a break. This will be his, like... I guess so. He kind of does. But I think if he does take a break, nothing's going to change either. I think Muta would just be exactly the same. And nothing would change for him. I think he would... yeah.
That I've never really considered myself in. I've always considered myself to be like, you know, generally somebody
that plays staff if she spends 10K a day. Hell yeah.
Back then it was like, you know, you talk about a creepypasta or you play fucking Revenge of the Sunfish or some crazy weird video game. And generally speaking, it's like I was never like the most, I would say, like viewed person, but it was like, you know, everything that I would just kind of post would generally appeal to this, you know, fan base that I would have. And I feel like, you know, in the last, like, what, 12, 24 months, I've kind of just alienated myself away from that. Now, I've been on, like, old Discord communities and fan communities of mine, just kind of talking to, like, older fans. And, you know, I've really come to this just realization that, you know, at this point, I have to stop jumping into this, like, YouTube, you know, avalanche of, like, you know, algorithm-seeking nonsense, okay? I should just go back to what it is that I've done, regardless of what it does to my channel or whatever going forward. The reality of this is this is not coming from a place of me wanting to go back to an older channel just out of nowhere. A lot of this comes from, you know, just me being upfront with you guys. I don't think I have much more time left in me. And I'm not saying that like I'm dead or something. It's just that for the last like couple of years, I really have been thinking of retiring. Like
a couple year long break, maybe get an actual job. Yeah. Just kill me. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But I don't think he will. But I do agree that he needs that. Oh, I'm fucking stupid. Okay. Yeah. Kind of lost my train of thought, to be honest. That thing in the game fucked me up. But yeah, I'll just.
I really have just been thinking of like getting out of this and sort of like doing something else with life. And sometimes life brings in a lot of beautiful things that sort of take you away from the hobbies that you have. And I'll let you interpret what that means. But the idea is that, you know, my life is heading to a place where I'm getting older. I got to be focusing more on things like family or something of that nature. So realistically, I don't really think that I have more than like a year, maybe 2 years of kind of making like, you know, the daily style of videos. That doesn't mean that I'll always like go away. Like I think I'll always just kind of upload here and there. It's just, you know, there's going to be a point where, you know, I just do not post, you know, multiple times a week. You know, it's going to be a point where I'm going to post maybe once a week or maybe once a month. And
so he's probably hit like 35 and is entering like a midlife crisis because he's best friends with a guy Oompaville who is kind of already has a ton of shit that he's working on, and Nux Taku, who is a freak weirdo. So yeah, that's a reasonable midlife crisis to have. Do not let this man become a dad. I don't know. He needs to get off YouTube. Oh, dude, but if he did become a dad, maybe he would use that as an excuse to make more daily slop videos. Like, I need the money. Kids gotta eat. I don't know. He definitely needs something else to focus on that's not YouTube. Because I think that's like ruining his brain.
Sometimes maybe even less than that. Simply because like life takes you in a different sort of spot. But I feel like before that time comes, I kind of do want to just go back to like a 2019, 2020, 2021 era Mutahar. I want to just kind of like upload goofy, what the fuck gaming style videos where I just play the most obscure shit.
Yeah, dude. All right. Sure, you don't want to become like you used to be. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Yeah, that's so. Why would you say you don't want to be like, you don't want to go back to the old times, and then immediately be like, I just want to re-upload like fucking 2019 to 2021 videos? Fucking stupid, dude. I guess he's tired. He's very tired right now.
For my channel. You know, one of the things that I really loved watching was like me. When I had insomnia, I woke up at like 3 in the morning and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help people relive PlayStation 2 Grand Theft Auto San Andreas like Bigfoot hunting. And I did that. And I had probably some of the most fun during that video. Now, the thing is, obviously, going back to that style of content that doesn't, you know, typically rely on trending stuff, obviously, I'm going to just say it right now, going into the future, I don't think I'm going to perform as well, at least like channel metric wise. And one of those things is obviously it's completely okay. I know that's like outlandish. Like, you know, a creator should probably think.
You know, I recently became a dad, kid is 7. And I really am just thinking back on when I used to play dark web found footage again. Yeah, guys, you know, I just want to go back to the 2024 Mutahar, the 2023 Mutahar, the real Mutahar, the steel Mutahar. You know, back when I used to have fun making videos, you know, those dark web videos were some of my favorite. I could 100% see him saying something like that. If he like never grows as a person. Yeah, 100%.
Think of like constantly upping and upping and upping and upping and upping the numbers until like it reaches an unhealthy degree. And that is what it is. It's just unhealthy. You know, this is not like a capitalist situation where like, you know, if you're pulling in, you know, like
you literally said
views 1 year.
He literally said that this was like, I'm in that like post-stage capitalism version. I get it. He's sleepy, but like I mean, that's the point, I guess. You know, if he wasn't tired, he'd probably be able to form like coherent thoughts, and he's just not able to right now.
You should go to 2 million the next year, and then 4, and then 8, and then, you know, 16, and then 32. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you just fall into this like psychotic like rut, where ultimately your content suffers, you suffer, and ultimately,
Is this a self-report? Is this him being like, I've just been exclusively algorithm gaming, and that's been like the entire purpose behind all of my actions recently? Is that literally him self-reporting that? Holy shit, dude. I don't think I'm misinterpreting that. I think that is literally what he's saying. Is fucking, you know, I've been like a psycho lately. That's probably the closest we're gonna get to an apology, is like a way too tired Mutahar. Holy shit. Saying that. Wow. Odd, very strange.
I would say everything just suffers at that point. So realistically for me, I want to just kind of go back to, you know, a lot of that, like, even before 2020, to be honest, like 2017, 2018, I think that was like a peak era. And I should just go back to playing like a lot of older, like creepypasta games. I should go back to a lot of like deep web stuff. Not even just deep web stuff, to be honest. Like,
why is it that like every single person who feels like they're failing is just like, yeah, I just want to like go even deeper into being lazy and making the shittiest content possible. I've especially noticed it for like people who already make kind of low effort content. They're like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go back and make fucking even lower effort content. And I think it's gonna work out great. I think it's gonna be awesome. I mean, I'm kind of subject to that. I was making fucking video game essays and then doing and now I'm doing drama. But I'm not like, this isn't my career. I haven't been doing this for as long as Mutahar has, which is fucking 10 years. And then like self-immolating once a week.
deep web stuff is like, I've seen so many goddamn websites at this point that, to be real with you, I could not do it almost every week. Maybe like every 2 weeks, simply due to the fact that there is just so much of the same hitman, you know, website. But I've generally like gotten a lot of love for like creepypasta stuff recently, and I never thought I'd be saying that. I've really actually fallen back into creepypasta love, and I've been actually on the creepypasta wiki. I've been like reading spooky stories. I've been on the spookier side of like 4chan paranormal again, and I really feel like looking back, some of the videos that I made, the ones that just randomly banged, looking at like weird creepy 4chan threads, or like, you know, talking about like that one obscure video game creepypasta, or sometimes looking at like that one creepy YouTube channel, you know, or the YouTube ARG.
Like
that's just really where I should be focusing my attention and my time into. I feel like I've dipped my toe too much into like the trending, almost like drama content pond, where I've really just suffered in the long run for it, right? Like I think like the last...
No, you haven't been suffering because of you're just inhabiting the drama pond. You're suffering because you're bad at it. You're suffering because you fucking don't understand drama. This guy fucking sucks, dude.
24 months, I've probably suffered the most in terms of just like the quality.
Wait, what did he say? Past 24 months?
I've really just suffered in the long run for it, right? Like I think like the last 24 months, I've probably suffered the most in terms of just like the quality of the video that I've been making about it too, right? Like I don't want to say that I've just been like slop tubing it. You know, I've always been like a daily uploader. If you think that my old videos from like 8-9 years ago were not just slop, you'd be fucking surprised, okay? Playing some dog shit stupid PS2 game probably falls into that same category.
Wait, what? So you're like, what? No. No. No, 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 no. Your problem is that your current stuff is too much slop. So you're gonna go back to what you agree is actually just straight up, like, early content slop? What? Why? Why are you doing this?
Category if people are being charitable. But at least back then, I feel like I was really carving out like the weird side of the internet that nobody was uploading and just enjoying my time there. You know, one of the things that I want to do is just kind of go back to that. And again, like I said, I hate making these kind of videos, but one of the reasons that I wanted to make this video is to get my thoughts out, to sort of talk a little bit to the community about it. But also, I do want to ask you guys, like, what specifically from that old era do you guys really genuinely want to see? And I don't want to just hear like deep web browsing or something of that nature, right? It's like there's got to be some stuff, you know, from like the haunted gaming era. My neighbor finally fell asleep. The haunted gaming era, or like that just weird side of like the PS2 games that I ended up playing, or just like weird games in general, right? Like I legitimately laughed out loud the other night. I was watching myself playing Sonic, like it was a Sonic Dreams collection. I was watching myself impregnate Sonic.
Oh my god, dude. Holy shit. I know the game he's talking about. Why are you fucking talking about it? Jesus. Yes, you impregnate Sonic. I think you make out with Shadow. You get transported to like a weird Sonic world. It's like basically a creepypasta world. It's like funny, ironic. But like you don't have to bring it up in this weird video. I mean, I don't know. I guess if he's like looking for the old fans, the old heads. Sure, but like also you lied a shitload back then too. Like, okay. All right.
Yeah. I actually fucking laughed at it like an actual hyena. And I feel like, you know, that's just where I want to be.
I need to hear this. Yeah.
From, like, videos
no
like
one does.
That, I feel like there was just a genuine amount of good positivity I was putting in there, as opposed to, you know, just yapping about the daily stuff that I have an interest in. Obviously, that's why I upload it. But I really just feel like, you know, at the end of the day, if that's where I'm going at, if that's the route that I'm going down, I should probably stop right now. Because ultimately, I don't want to just be like the daily, like, news yapper guy. I don't want to be like the daily, you know, Asmongold, Charlie. No disrespect to any of those guys, but that never was me, and I don't think that should be me. But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about this.
No, how's Doe gonna afford her fucking crippling pachinko addiction? How's she gonna afford blackjack tables now? Come on, Mutahar. Oh.
On a bit, but ultimately I have to do something because insomnia is a bitch. Sleep paralysis is an absolute bitch. But I wanted to talk about this because, again, it's something in my head. I wanted to discuss stuff. And again, I just recorded me playing a goofy PlayStation 2 game. And it was probably some of the most fun that I've ever had. Obviously, going forward, going back to that classic style of content and not relying on, like, you know, trends or doing that kind of stuff is ultimately a net negative to the channel. But given, I mean, net negative in terms of the, I guess you could say, metrics, right? And, you know, YouTube just shouldn't be metrics. Like, at the end of the day, this is not, you know, what I do. This is something that obviously I have to.
This is not my job, guys. This is not my job. YouTube should not be metrics. YouTube should not be about making money or entertaining people. It should be about
be retiring from at some point, and I got to be focusing on other ventures. But I think from now to the time we get to that stage, probably should go back to a time when, you know, I was some ordinary gamers, not, you know, off-brand version of whatever talking head you see on the internet these days. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Obviously, I will still be deep diving into things. I think that part is still, like, that stuff I still want to do. But I just want to ask you, what do you guys want to particularly see? And especially if there's any specific like topic, especially in that horror space, if you guys want to see, absolutely would like to cover things like that again. And ultimately, I just want to ask you what you want to see. Because, you know, if I'm going to upload something, I at least want to upload, you know, something that the community wants to see. Not just, you know, because ultimately it's like a fucking team effort here. You know what I mean? It's like, you know,
okay, so if you're getting like more views on like drama, political stuff, doesn't that mean that the community wants to hear what you have to say? Doesn't that mean that your community likes you? What I would want to see, I guess, you'd have to upload like a video, like 2 videos on the same day, basically. Or maybe like within like the same parameters, roughly. Well, pardon me, it's just a bit after midnight here. He should post like whatever video he wants, a stupid fucking GTA Bigfoot hunting or whatever the fuck. And then post like a drama slop content. Compare the views, the watch time, and the returning viewer average. And you'd have to be like, okay, the drama content got 500,000 views, but percentage-wise, it only like 50,000 people turned up. Okay, that are like returning viewers that are subscribers. And then your creepypasta one is like 200,000 views, and 150,000 of them are returning subscribers. And then you would try to, like, I guess, appeal to them? It sounds stupid to me. Because, like, why are you doing YouTube if not to, like, make money? And be passionate about what you do? And it sounds like he's not particularly even that passionate about fucking the video game stuff. And he really wants to make money. He's like, I need to change what I do because what I do right now makes money, but I want to make more money. And I also want to change what I do because I'm not passionate about what I do. And I'm not particularly passionate about what I used to do either, but I guess I'm more passionate for it. He's so fucking confused right now. He's a sleepy boy. He needs to go to bed. But like, just don't upload the video? Just do not upload this video? It's just nonsense. It'd be funny if he went back to that old content and just looked 2 steps from ending it. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. It's like I mean imagine he oh, okay. I need to go to the bathroom anyway. I'll be right back. I'm not even sure how much time is left, but I've been holding. I just don't think he's like a happy guy. I just think Mutahar is like extremely unhappy with his position in life and what he's been doing, and he just doesn't have like a good solution. Whenever I think he has the skills and the connections to have a good solution, he just is like willingly not taking it for some reason. I don't know. I kind of hate to say it, but he literally could just be happy. Like, he has the money and time to do it. He's just so obsessed with, like, money. He's so obsessed with gathering money. And, but then again, who knows if all the other shit is true? Because if it was true, like him owning things and being a day trader and whatever, if that was true, like, why is he even on fucking YouTube at all? Especially for something he's not particularly passionate about. It doesn't. I think he's just like obsessed with money, and he's anxious that he's gonna like lose all of his money one day, or something like that. I don't know. He's a weird guy. He's a very odd guy. In a way, I think I don't know. He's just like tired and rambling, so I can't say I'm sympathetic to him because this isn't him really, like 99% of the time. But I think he needs some help. Yeah. Was there anything else, or was that it? I think that's it. Yeah. I don't know. I think I've said everything I have to say. Whew. Mutahar's a liar. He's unhappy. And he's fucking weird. It's gonna make me sound like I'm the worst with money, but I don't get this money hoarding shit. Like, I get, yeah, save for retirement, but we might not get there too. I'm okay with money. I don't think I'm great with it either. But some people are like obsessed with it. They have like a well-paying job, they have like 2 or 3 side hustles, and they're like eating ramen exclusively every single day. There are some people like that. And maybe Mutahar is like that. But I also feel like he's almost exclusively taking, like, at least in the sense of YouTube, like, just the worst business decisions. Because, like, drama does affect his channel, at least at some points. I know a lot of people who were upset about the Nux Taku thing. Well, not personally, but I saw a lot of people exodus his channel with the Nux Taku thing. Not that many, not enough, frankly. He like disconnected himself from, like, I think the people who were trying to get him away from Nux Taku. He doesn't make content he likes. It's like, I think he's setting himself up for like a midlife crisis, and he's gonna blow all of his money on like a jet ski and a yacht. Basically, he's gonna try to buy happiness because he doesn't understand that what he's passionate about, and how he can turn his passion into making money, or if he even can turn his passion into making money. I think he's like an inherently like kind of lazy dude, and that probably stems from like decision paralysis from his anxiety. And he probably just wants to play games again because he wants to return to being like more carefree. And this video is basically that. It's an argument with himself about becoming either more carefree so he can feel more relaxed, or like start grinding for more money. And I'm like, dude, day trader, owns a bunch of 7-Elevens, owns a skincare company, owns a massively successful YouTube channel. I think like 2 if you count his podcast channel. For a while, he was like somebody people would go to for information. And now it feels like, does he actually have any of these income streams? Did he just lie about them? Is he actually terrible with money? I don't know. I'm a bit too tired too, so I don't think I'm making all that much sense. What was I gonna look up? I don't know. He's bullshitting if he's desperate for money about owning those stores and stuff. Yeah, totally. Because, like, I don't see why he couldn't just retire into a life of, like, streaming video games once in a while. If he actually does have that much money. Like, why does he give a fuck what his 4 million subscribers think if he already has the money and he can just pursue his passion? Which, if that's playing video games, good for him. I don't think that's personally all that rewarding. But if that's what he wants to do, let him do it. But he's like, guys, I need all 4 million of you guys to stay here, or 3.83 million, whatever, and watch me play GTA. It's like, why don't you just play GTA and see who comes? That's all you gotta do. Very weird. Oh, very odd. What did the comments look like? I think that's what I was gonna look at. Muta is pregnant, waiting for the pregnancy reveal. Muta makes the same video every year, says he doesn't want to drama videos and get back into gaming and depends and deep web browsing videos, but as soon as the next drama happens, Muta comes in with his opinion. That's true. Holy shit, he's gonna start a family. I'm a computer science major. I've recently installed mods for Skyrim. Sort by top. Was that top? That didn't seem well organized. I want 2 things: high-level computer understanding and thoughts on video games. Well, he doesn't have the that knowledge. Alright, I'm gonna head out. I think I've run out of energy. I've run out of juice. And I'll get to the WIllyMac stuff. Saturday, I guess. I want more Unk fighting. Well, it's not really Unk fighting. It's just WIllyMac versus Queeman. Because WIllyMac either doesn't understand what a dox is or is willingly misinterpreting what a dox is. And it's led to some very weird situations. I don't like Queeman that much, but from what I've seen, I think he's pretty much in the right. We'll watch the videos so I can be actually informed, but the little information I have, I think Queeman's actually a-okay, so forward to that next time. And good night, everyone.